it's no secret that most Australians get all their news from a current affair in Today Tonight. And to be honest, I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
No, it's not a bad thing, Chaz. In fact, here at The Chaser, we think current affairs shows teach us so many valuable lessons, we've compiled them into this...
Exclusive
segment.
So, what have we learnt this week? Well, first of all, I learnt something about danger. And if you thought the Melbourne ganglands were unsafe, you think again.
Bingles and bashings. Why the local shopping centre car park is the most dangerous place in Australia.
The most dangerous place in Australia. So let's put to the test, shall we? We've got some footage here of the Macquarie Fields riots. Now, they might look dangerous, but they're nothing compared to Today Tonight's car park carnage.
No, look, that's nothing. Look at that stuff on the right. Look at those cars are on the...
That was touched.
He's reverse parking.
Oh, watch out, watch out. Watch out, he's honking the horn. Oh, now he's trying to park.
That stuff on the left, that fire.
That's nothing.
That's nothing. It's very scary. Look, the thing we really want to focus on today is dodgy guys. Now, luckily, current affairs shows have taught us how to identify a dodgy guy. And the trick is, whenever you see one, you'll always hear special dodgy guy music.
Okay, that's what we're talking about. Here's a dodgy guy. Here's the music.
I also learned that whenever they walk along the street, dodgies move in slow motion.
It's true.
Now, you see what I mean here? Extraordinarily slow.
Very slow. And he's got the dodgy music happening still.
And now, on top of that, there are guys who are so dodgy that their unbounded evil makes them walk like this.
Look close at this guy here. He's so dodgy. He's actually disturbing the space-time continuum.
Look at him. Huh?
It's very worrying. It's very worrying. But Andrew, these slow, warping men are all very well. But there is no one slower or warpier than pedophiles and sex offenders.
No, that is so true. Now, look at this turtle-pace pedo.
He's evil and he needs to...
Very slowly. Now, I reckon this is the reason why sex offenders keep on getting caught. Look how slowly he's moving.
Move on, mate.
Move on, son.
I actually found this works with anybody. Earlier today, I went out and filmed Chaz here, just walking along. Here he is, and this is normal Chaz. Now, I put a bit of music, bit of slow-mo. Pedophile Chaz.
Very amusing, Andrew, but what worries me, seriously, is how easy it is to show that the Prime Minister himself is a pedophile. Just look at this. Oh, Mr. Howard, how could you?
What a disgrace.
Okay, so in summary, Andrew, what have we learnt from current affairs this week?
Well, we've learnt that car parks are deadly and the Prime Minister's a pedophile. So there we go.
I hope that's cleared things up for you, Naomi.
Thank you so very much for your generous help. It's a great result.
No worries. Welcome back. And when it comes to current affairs shows, you might be wondering how they set their journalistic standards.
Well, there are a lot of people who are saying they went out the window a long time ago.
Oh, not fair at all, because what makes these shows so credible is they use loads of experts.
Now, at first we thought it was very easy to spot an expert because they were the ones always taking books off shelves and pretending to read them. After we looked at a few, we realised we were very wrong. The more we watched, the more breeds of expert we discovered.
Like, for instance, experts who use mouses. Now, here they are, using mouses and being expert.
Another species of expert is this very specific one here. Now, this is the walking up to the secretary, talking to them and exchanging a file expert. It's a very specific type. Apparently, they're the flavour of the month at the moment. There's lots of them here lately. Some of them give the files back, of course. I don't know which is more expert. This lady here is particularly interesting. She hands a file to the secretary, who, without doing anything to the file, hands it straight back again.
Very impressive. Then there are the experts who flip pages. Now, these guys, they love flipping pages. In fact, this guy here is so expert, he can flip pages in both directions. But there's an even more specialised form of page-flipping expert. Now, that's the breast implant page flipper. This guy here, he flips pages while he fiddles with breast implants.
Finally, the most common form of expert would have to be the experts who walk. Now, look at this guy. He knows his stuff. He's an expert. Oh, yes, they do an amazing... Actually, sometimes I think they're just walking in between their current affairs interviews. Oh, look, very natural. Oh, look at him, completely at ease. Now, they're just everywhere on current affairs shows, these experts. But pay special attention to the length of this man's walk. And just as Fatties ran the first marathon, this guy has executed the longest walk ever seen on a current affairs story.
So you think it's over, don't you?
Oh, no, it's finished now.
No.
There it is.
No, it's
Oh,
not.
no.
No, it just keeps on going. That's 4 separate scenes or half a day of filming.
Extraordinary. Now, his name is Damien Tudhope, and his walk was so long that Chaz and I tracked him down and decided to present him with a special award.
And we presented it the way Damien would have liked us to, with a very, very long walk.
There he is. Congratulations, Damien. You've won this magnificent trophy for having the longest walk ever seen in a current affairs story. Well done.
Well done, Damien.
And he looks just as natural as his own walks.
He does. Well, look, it seems very easy to look like an expert, I know. So easy that we wondered if we could turn anyone into an expert, even this dog. To find out, we talked to an expert. So how easy is it to look like an expert? Look at him there. He's brilliant. He can read, he can pick books off shelves, he does the walk.
Doing the natural walk.
He's the expert's expert. He even uses the mouse.
Use the mouse, point and click. Oh, there we go. Hands the file to the secretary.
Let's hear it for the dog, the best performer on the show.
Good. Yep, good dog.
Well, there you have it. And we'll be back next week with another valuable lesson.
When is it going to end?
Good night. Well, this is our third segment now about a current affair in Today Tonight. So how are you enjoying them so far, Tracy?
It certainly pushes our tolerance to the limit.
Maybe so, but the lessons just keep on coming. Just this week, for instance, you rescued my life savings by warning me not to invest in 6-month-old babies.
Nine Network finance editor Ross Greenwood says stay away from companies like this.
I was just about to have a power lunch with that baby.
Very guilty, baby, very guilty.
On to today's lesson. Now, current affairs shows can be incredibly complicated, and that's why they employ subtle visualisations to aid our understanding. Like, for instance, Chaz, if I say to you, I've had a dog of a year.
Sorry, what?
I've had a dog of a year. It's an expression. I've had a dog of a year.
I've never heard it.
Let me show you.
For Murgamack, 2005 was a dog of a year.
Oh,
See what I mean?
I see. A dog of the year. Ah, now that makes sense. Look, what worries me, Andrew, is the spread of foreign ownership.
Sorry, the what of foreign ownership?
The spread of foreign...
Sorry, the
look,
what of foreign
just
ownership?
look, just look.
The spread of foreign ownership in Australia.
You see?
Oh, elegantly explained. Almost as elegant as this demonstration of how much pot plants cost.
$1.7 million was spent on pot plants. Foreign Minister Alexander Downer's department, the biggest spender.
Oh, it's like money in the pot plant.
Clear things up. One thing I always found very confusing, actually, was the disappearance of baby Tegan. That was, at least until Today Tonight, explained it to me in terms I could understand.
A baby vanishes into thin air.
It's hidden in the subtext.
I don't know, it's too subtle for me, Andrew. I much prefer David Margan's down-to-earth approach on the current affair. Just look at the fine work he's crammed here into this one report about Telstra. First, he deftly explains the concept of a deceased department.
Finally, she finds the right department.
The deceased department. How pathetic.
See, now that's how you do it.
A deceased
That's
department.
how you do it. And then he skillfully follows it up with this delicate visual metaphor.
Sort of felt like I'd been hit in the face with a wet fish.
Oh, wet face.
Wet fish.
Very subtle techniques, I think. Although some would say they're like being hit over the head with a sledgehammer.
I don't know, Andrew. I thought it was more like having your teeth pulled out, scraping your fingernails down a blackboard, tearing your hair out, and being hit by a truck.
Actually, I don't know. I thought it was a bit more like being patronised by a farcically inane television presenter.
And that's one way of putting it.
Sure is.
Now, just before we get into it, a quick update. You might recall a couple of weeks ago we awarded this man a prize for best costume in a current affairs story.
Meet Jack Gray. He not only looks like one, but he is a bloody idiot.
Well, it turns out he loved that plastic bag so much that 2 weeks later on the current affair, he was at it again, still wearing it.
Yes, well, here he is. He's just finished driving with the plastic bag on and apparently even wears it at home on his veranda.
He's a real style guru, that guy, and it's catching on in the fashion world too.
I saw that.
Yeah, for instance, this is a fashion show in Milan this week.
On to this week's lesson now. Graphics. Now, graphics are great for illustrating scientific concepts. For instance, look how easy it is to follow a current affairs explanation of the workings of the human brain.
Evidence is that if that's working, then learning takes place, physical development takes place, fine motor development increases.
Perfectly clear, isn't it?
Thank you. I now have a PhD in neuropsychology. Well, graphics can also be used to create delicate metaphors, and our lookout today tonight deftly illustrates this story about a landlord who disapproves of someone's pet rabbit.
All was fine until recently when the landlord set his sights on Thumper.
Such a refined approach. But, you know, I reckon all that animation, that's just kid stuff. If you really want to engage with a complex concept in depth, what you want is a stamp. Now, take this Today Tonight story on household appliances, for instance. What do you think's wrong with these items, Andy?
I don't know, they look all right to me.
Look carefully now.
Well, they look... Oh, are they defective in some way, or...?
Bingo!
Is that what it is?
Just in case you're not sure, there you go.
I've learned.
Yeah, in fact, Today Tonight uses stamps for pretty much every issue that they want to explore in a subtle and nuanced fashion.
Parking inspectors caught out.
Disaster after disaster. The foreign worker invasion.
Not one student passed. Harassment, lost files.
They were bullies.
Guilty of racial vilification. The ring was all a fake. Banned from driving his car's unregistered, uninsured. Mum hounded one minor beagle 8 different ways. Thieves, drug addicts, criminals, drugs, assaults, crime out of control.
Destroying a once peaceful community.
Well, there's nothing like reducing complex issues to 2 words in a rectangular box. And that's why we decided we could improve some of the great works of literature by translating them into current affairs-ese. For example, Romeo and Juliet, Oliver Twist, and Gibbon's Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire.
Compelling reading, all 3 of them, but the only downside, I guess, Andrew, with stamps is they can be a tad intrusive.
Oh, I don't think so.
No, they can be. They really can. In fact, sometimes they even get in your way. Take this poor bloke here. The one on the right I'm talking about, this one come up, he was forced to actually limbo underneath the stamp.
Rather intrusive now, I admit. Look, I think these stamps are brilliant, and we were so impressed we decided to go to the premises of Channel 7 to pay our compliments.
Too many stamps. I wonder what Today Tonight's graphics guy thought about that.
Well, good night. Today's lesson is about interviews. Now, interviews are crucial in current affairs stories, so it's important to select a subject who is articulate and well-spoken, like this gentleman here.
What was your reaction when you went inside?
Quite a speech.
Yeah. Now on to questions. Now, these shows are sometimes accused of asking inane questions, but no, just look at this report here about an angry tenant. Now, as you can see, he's strewn garbage everywhere, he's put holes in the walls, there's graffiti on the walls, insults, you know, he's put his foot through the wall. It's terrible. Now, there's one question everyone would have wanted to ask the poor owner of this place. Luckily enough, James Thomas asked it.
He did this deliberately, that's clear though, isn't it?
Yeah. You think it was deliberate? I could have sworn that looked like an accident.
Oh, come on, Andrew. Look, that could easily have been an accident.
Rubbish.
That sort of thing happens to me all the time. You see, accidents happen.
Whoops-a-daisy. I can see. Now, one problem with interviewing people is they don't always tell you what you want to hear. However, David Margan has come up with a novel solution to this problem by simply talking over the top of their answers.
You knew if this was his latest scam, so why didn't you tell the distributors?
Moultrie claims he didn't tell the truth to protect investors.
Good answer, David. Now, I've always admired the way these shows ask the tough questions. Just watch Martin King hoe into Pamela Anderson.
What is your favourite colour?
Purple, actually.
Is it?
Oh, he's relentless.
Annihilate! obliterated her. Look, he's tough. But one guy who isn't taking crap from anyone is the legendary Chris Simmons from Today Tonight. Just watch him sink his fangs into the unsuspecting head of wizard credit cards.
You're certainly throwing down the gauntlet to other credit card companies, aren't you, to improve on their interest rates and conditions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's gonna hurt!
Got him! If you thought that was merciless, you didn't see Simmons blindside the Olsen twins. Nothing could have prepared them for this.
But you're really here for the launch of your new Mary Kate and Ashley range. Tell us all about it. I gather it's bold, bargain price and very colourful.
You should sit here and say that.
He tore
Shot him
strips off
down
him.
in flames. No, in fact, I think that's actually quite mean. I'm going to say it now. I think the guy's a thug, and he deserves to be taken down a peg or two with a dose of his own medicine. Chris Simmons, tell us about your journalistic style. I gather it's hard-hitting, rigorous and eloquent.
Well, I'd like to think it is, yes.
Ouch! Got you, Simmons! Got you!
Take that, Simmons!
Now, one thing that really impresses me about current affairs journalists is how insightful they are. Nothing gets past these guys. And this may sound obvious, but just listen to Today Tonight's razor-sharp analysis of this man's behaviour.
Hey.
Get down from here, girl! Get up!
Hey.
Settle down, mate.
What do you want now?
We haven't been stalking you.
What do you want?
We just want to ask you some questions, mate.
Mohammed Naba is an angry man.
She thinks he's an angry man, Andrew. An astonishing insight there. Now, what we just saw there is a classic Menace to Society beat-up, right? And if we look at the current affairs tally board for a second, he is now the 41st Menace to Society. Today Tonight has done a story on this year. Way ahead of a current affair, have only featured 30.
Yeah, now, I'm glad you brought out the tally board, Chaz. You've been counting stories all year, haven't you?
I have indeed, and Today Tonight has been absolutely flogging the competition. They're winning rip-off merchants, 44 reports to 39. We need tougher sentences, 17 to 11. Medical freak show, 10 to 5. Fatties, 15 to 11, and Youth Gone Wild, 22 to 16. But they're not having everything their own way, Andrew, because a current affair absolutely dominates the crucial cross-promotions category, 44 reports to 11.
Which brings us to tonight's lesson, cross-promotions. Now, let's start with some basic cross-promoting from the amateurs in the field. Today Tonight.
Now, Dancing with the Stars was back last night with more than 2.1 million Australians tuning in. Plus high drama behind the scenes on Dancing with the Stars. And was Jennifer Hawkins voted off Dancing with the Stars because she's too beautiful?
Now, that's not a bad effort from Seven. In fact, they're even creative enough to invent entire news stories from scratch just to promote their primetime lineup.
The feud between contestant Kate Langbrook and Judge Todd McKenney intensified with the pre-show arrival of an angry mob.
Shame, Todd, shame! Shame, Todd, shame!
Kate Langbrook's army stormed Channel 7 last night. Keen to avoid the angry mob, Todd snuck in through a rear entrance before the show.
Very scary, those
these
mobs.
angry mobs. Well, that's Today Tonight. Channel 9 don't bother themselves with such niceties. They simply ram their promotions straight down our gullets.
CSI, the original crime scene investigation, is about, of course, forensic cops who combine good looks, cutting-edge intellect and designer label fashion.
Which is more than we can say for Tracy. But A Current Affair is so good at cross-promoting that they even load cross-promotions inside their cross-promotions. Just look at this story now. They're supposed to be cross-promoting their Logies telecast here, but they just can't help cross-promoting a network personality at the same time.
Not so for Rove. Will this be his fourth gold Logie in a row? Speaking of Rowe, Jessica will be there with her best frock on.
Hopefully something with sparkles. I love something that's got a bit of sequin, a bit of shine.
They've got so many shows to advertise, they know what they're doing.
Well, that's all very well, but the real pros work their ads into serious news stories. Now, see if you can spot the promotion. Channel 7 snuck into this report about parental discipline.
She, takes my TV away or something and I'm not allowed to watch it.
No home and away?
Yeah, pretty much.
Very subtle, very subtle.
Slipped it in.
Although, once again, A Current Affair showed them up. Just look how seamlessly ACA wove a gnawing sports promo into this story about a dodgy car repair job.
It's not roadworthy at all. It's got a lot of defects. If we took you through the full list of defects,
you'd miss tonight's coverage of the Commonwealth Games.
Ah, yes, the Commonwealth Games. Now, this is when Nine broke all kinds of cross-promotion records.
Oh, yes.
We're talking 26 stories about the Commonwealth Games in 10 days. Pretty much everyone got their interview with Tracy. Cyclists, weightlifters, even shooters got a Guernsey. Everyone, that is, except one very angry man. CJ Bruton from the Boomers. Now, where was his interview?
Where
he
was
deserved
it?
an interview. Now, so we took him to Channel 9 to demand his rightful airtime. Hello there. We want to speak to Tracy. She should be. I believe she's contracted to speak to every gold medal athlete ever for the Commonwealth Games, and we have one right here.
I've heard that you've interviewed a lot of people, and we won gold, and I'm the captain of the Australian team. I just figured, you know, maybe because I was black.
Hello?
Want to talk to us?
Mate, can I get you guys to leave? Thank you. The people don't want to speak to you up there. They just like to leave.
Sorry? You're not going to interview CJ?
No.
Does Tracy know about this?
Yes.
It come from her. I'm a gold medalist.
He's a gold medalist.
That's it? That's all we get?
You interviewed shooters, you interviewed cyclists, you're not going to interview CJ?
Mate, the exec producer has asked us that he doesn't want to interview you, so he'd just like to move on. Go to Channel 7, maybe they'll interview you.
Channel 7? I feel gutted.
It's an amazing resemblance. I wonder what segment they were supposed to be doing there, do you?
You don't think it could have been...
No, I don't think so.
Now, look, before we start, let's just get something out of the way. We've been getting a lot of complaints here about us turning up to the Logies in Naomi Robson's makeup truck last week. Look, you weren't supposed to take it seriously, OK? It was just a harmless gag. I mean, look, let's ask the woman herself, shall we? Naomi, you're not angry with us, are you?
Have a look at this.
Anyway, what we learned from current affairs this week, Andrew?
Well, this week's lesson is about current affairs show's use of comedy. There isn't a report that can't be improved with some off-the-wall comedic japery. Now, look how Brady Halls from A Current Affair used comedy to help us understand the commercialisation of Easter.
Excuse me, A Current Affair, I'd like a quick word with you, if you don't mind.
We tracked down this sudden season spoiler, who later agreed to an interview.
Listen, Santa starts up around late September. I don't see you hassling him.
Pretty funny stuff. What do you think about that, everyone? But the laughs don't end there. Just check out ACA's classic vaudevillian routine about the expense of children's sport.
You see, it's footy season, and what that means is a big crash tackle to the hip pockets of thousands of Australian families.
It's a good thing I videotaped that episode and sent it to Australia's Funniest Home Video Show, because look, it won!
Oh, it's lovely weather today. I wonder what season it is. Summer? Winter?
No, mate, it's the fall!
Oh, my goodness!
Reporter James Thomas there. Now, he may be the prince of slapstick, but let's meet the king, David Margan. And I warn you, hold on to your sides.
So if I truly believed, I too could clear the bar?
If you truly believe, and if you'll put some trainings into it, you'll clear the bar.
It's like watching the Marx Brothers in full flight, isn't it? Yeah. But let's say that you're doing an expose about council corruption. Now, how would a respectable, hard-nosed journalist deliver the facts in a no-nonsense manner? Allow Chris Hill to demonstrate.
It's alarming to think there's even the slightest possibility that people we should be able to trust are doing a number on us.
I'm
In fact, I can feel a bit of a number coming on as we speak.
What a glorious feeling. I'm happy again.
Now, John Owen's got to be a very happy chappy.
But the last laugh has to go to Brady Halls, the undisputed master of current affairs ham acting. Check out his comic turn in this report about lie detectors.
We all tell lies. Of course, we have to. I don't lie. I think you do. I think if we ask your wife whether you've ever lied to her, I think she'd say yes.
OK, some of us lie better than others.
Brilliant.
Bravo.
Brilliant.
Encore.
Look, Brady's a comic genius. He really is. But do you remember when, for instance, John Cleese asked him to stand in for Basil Fawlty?
Don't you dare give me any more of those pathetic lies.
Oh, I don't lie.
Basil!
Superb performance.
Well, that's entertainment. We have an astonishing revelation to make. We have discovered that some current affairs reporters possess magical powers. That's right, they are supernatural magicians.
Don't believe us? Well, prepare to meet the majestic sorcerer, Chris Simmon the Magnificent, from Today Tonight. Now, here he is talking to this expert. You can see all the expert books in the background there. Okay, now she answers his question. We cut back to Chris Simmon and Shazam! He's on the other side of the room. Let's take another look at that one.
Yes, he has teleported across the room. Move over Gandalf.
Amazing.
Now, Chaz, I think respectable TV presenters should be much more careful about the noddies they record, don't you think? On to today's lesson now. Youth gone wild.
Now, according to Today Tonight, young people only started going wild in 2006. Before then, childhood was like something out of Huckleberry Finn.
Ask anyone over the age of about 25 to reflect on their childhood, and most will have happy memories of a carefree youth. Life, it seems, was simpler then. There was less pressure, less consumerism, and more outdoor fun.
I remember those days spent fishing.
By contrast, every kid today is like this.
Smash it.
Turn off that camera.
Yep, every Youth Gone Wild story requires footage of youth going wild. But if you don't have any, don't worry. Just use some footage of kids sitting around doing nothing.
Completely unsupervised. They believe that violence and crime has spiralled out of control as more and more
Watch out, it's a bike!
Watch
out! That's very and look at this coming up here. I believe they are on a porch.
Whoa!
It's terrifying, terrifying. Now, I've got to say, I know Today Tonight may have run 33 of these stories this year to ACA's 21, but I will not hear of anyone accusing Today Tonight of exaggerating the threat.
Now there are calls to take serious action against thugs who are hell-bent on destroying everything.
I mean, who can understand kids? No one. So thank God ACA has experts to explain them to us. Experts like the editor of this respectable scientific journal.
The Dolly Youth Monitor report has revealed that kids today, the median age that they're having sex is around 14.
Yeah, it's a real milestone in sociological research, the Dolly Youth Monitor report. But if you thought Dolly magazine was scientific, look at this psychologist's assessment of why some kids are out of control.
It's a very rare condition. It's called the princess bitch face syndrome.
So, how did so many teenagers end up with the princess bitch face syndrome? Well, ACA believes the answer lies in their lack of knowledge of vegetables.
People are no longer being taught values. Kids don't know what a stick of celery or a cucumber looks like.
And the problem runs even deeper than that. Kids are also being taught the most filthy language in school. Today Tonight visited this concerned mother.
But when sex-related issues came uninvited into her house as part of her son's homework, she was appalled.
It was more to do with the female reproduction system. Words like vulva, ovum, fallopian tube.
Disgusting. And fallopian tube isn't the end of it either. If we could just look back at that list of words for a second. Look at the one she's highlighted. Emission.
Thank goodness we're in this late-night time slot. So what is to be done with these promiscuous, swearing, bike-riding, vegetable-ignoring thugs? Well, the solution is simple.
So we should be publicly humiliating juveniles for their crimes?
Yeah, I would say so, because that's the only way you can teach them.
Yeah, bravo. It's an interesting proposal, this naming and shaming kids idea, I think, and when ACA ran a poll on it, it really divided their viewers.
A staggering 99% of callers agree that juveniles found guilty of serious crimes should be publicly named and shamed.
Statistics worthy of the Dolly Youth Monitor report.
And, you know, that isn't the first time ACA has run a poll with that kind of result. We got a 95% poll here, a 96% poll here. Here's a 98%. They're always very fair and balanced, these polls. But it seems that no matter how much they load their poll questions, ACA never seems to get 100% to zero results.
Well, we figured we could help them out in this area, so we devised a question guaranteed to get a 100% answer. Are our current affair polls full of shit? OK, first up, let's take a look at the current affairs tally board. Some very exciting results this week. Today Tonight is ahead on Neighbours from Hell, 9 reports this year to 8. They have a narrow lead in Cranks and Oddballs, 18 to 17, and they're ahead in Cosmetic Surgery stories, 8 to 5.
But of course, Andrew, when it comes to cosmetic surgery, it isn't how many stories you do that counts, it's how many breasts you can squeeze into the one report. And in that respect, Today Tonight is miles ahead.
Breast wrong is actually side her rescue. I also Dr. Tettlebett
22.
He believes that the weight of them is kind of.
That's 13. And I really like those grey circles they placed over that woman's nipples. Very modest, I thought. Yeah.
Now, you may think 13 breast shots is a lot, but that was stretched across a whole report. Whereas reporter Chris Simmond can top that number in just the first 19 seconds of his story.
A true sign of the times that in the pursuit of a bigger bust, women opting to go under the knife are getting younger and younger. Now, girls aged 16 and 17 are seeking cosmetic perfection. But how young is too young?
Well, that's 16 breast shots in 19 seconds. He really is the master of mammaries. In fact, Simmons was so desperate to cram breasts into his story, he even got 2 pairs in the one shot.
That's right, Chris Simmons, ladies and gentlemen, the biggest boob in journalism.
Now, on to today's lesson, the big issues. We're in June now, and we think it's worth looking back on the amazing year we've had, according to a current affair. And let's begin with this unforgettable day. This was, of course, a big news day. Peter Costello said that immigrants who don't accept Australian values should leave the country. A state of emergency was declared in the Philippines and Iraq was on the brink of civil war. But nothing was as big as the story a current affair chose to cover that day.
Port Phillip Mayor Janet Bolitho says a little over $1,000 has been spent on the Smile Per Hour campaign, installing signs in several beachside suburbs.
Yes, you heard that right. Port Phillip Council spent $1,000 out of their $100 million budget on these humorous signs. No wonder there was rioting in Paris that day. Now, Port Phillip Council's happy signs would normally be enough news for 1 year. Yeah. But at a current affair, the big stories just keep on coming.
Now, the 7th of February will live in history. Not because of the Iraqi wheat scandal or because Australia saw one of its biggest drug stings ever, but because of this tragedy of global proportions.
Tiny tots who got themselves and their mums banned from a family restaurant because they were having too much fun.
Oh, yes. The day innocents died at the gourmet pizza kitchen. Now, let's take a moment to remember where you were the day Tina and Erina were asked to leave.
For Tina and Erina, it's no laughing matter.
Do you remember where you were on the day that Tina and Erina were thrown out of the gourmet pizza kitchen?
No idea.
I've never heard of it before.
They're the ones whose children were having too much fun.
Oh, okay.
What is it, on the Neighbours or something like that?
No, it's the news.
It's Tina and who?
Tina and Erina.
Who are they?
7th of February, where was I? Probably at work.
Memories. Now, the amazing thing is that that story was almost eclipsed by the whopper that followed it.
Let's move on to the latest UFO sightings over Australia.
Well, what a news day that was.
I just can't believe they fit all that in half an hour. But now for the biggest news event of the millennium. And you know which one we're talking about.
Well, this next story had us all shaking our heads at the Current Affair Office. The RSL at Bribie Island has banned bingo players from eating lollies.
Yes, it had everyone at our office shaking their heads too. And ACA reporter David Margan risked everything to bring us the truth.
Now, what are your favourite lollies?
Well, they are actually...
The jelly beans.
The black...
Oh, I wanted them. Oh, you devil.
What a journalist. So, Andrew, smile signs, banned toddlers, and now banned lollies. These are all national disgraces. But what's the government doing about it?
Nothing.
Surely this is the sort of issue the opposition at least should be capitalising upon.
So we went to demand some answers.
Mr Beasley, what does the Bribey Island RSL club plan to do about the disallowing of their bingo players to eat lollies?
Mr Beasley, what should be done about the Port Phillip Council spending over $1,000 on smile signs?
As typical bloody bees, he cowers away from the tough questions. No wonder he's going nowhere.
See, and that's what we learnt in current affairs this week. Okay, start off, let's check out the current affairs tally board, shall we, where we find out that Tonight has run 36 stories this year about bureaucracy gone mad to ACA's 35. But they're falling behind on celebrity puff pieces, 18 reports to 32. Although they have maintained a slim lead in the greedy councils category, 14 to 13. So well done on that.
Now, when, of course, we say greedy councils, we're talking about just one thing. Parking officers. I don't know about you, Chaz, I can't tell whether Tonight thinks parkies are good or bad.
Australia's parking vultures see how they methodically herd innocent motorists into their ambush zone. Then once you leave your car, they take it and hold you to ransom.
And that brings us nicely to today's lesson, overstatement. See if you can spot the hyperbole in these grabs.
Coming up, whinging neighbours, how they're never happy and they never, ever let up.
Much of mainland Australia is getting doped to the eyeballs.
More and more Aussie mums are racing straight to the operating table. More and more parents are using their children to shoplift on their behalf.
Australians are literally becoming allergic to living.
Sorry, Andrew, it's all the living I've been doing lately, mate.
One way, of course, to whip up drama is to compare your situation to the worst moments in human history. Like this woman complaining about her local council's zoning decisions.
It's like living in communist Russia here, you know. I said it's like living in Idi Amin's Africa.
This poor woman dealing with the slaughter of millions of innocents every time her council makes a zoning decision. And, of course, this Tonight reporter noticed how much AGC's method of getting people to pay their phone bills was exactly like Nazi Germany.
Another woman tells of Gestapo tactics, of offensive and threatening calls every second day.
Oh, fair go, Andrew. Calls like that are actually Gestapo tactics. They are. I was watching a documentary about this just the other day.
Achtung! This is the Gestapo! You have to pay your telephone bill! If not, I will call you again the day after tomorrow! Heil Hitler!
You see?
Yeah, I see it quite. I haven't seen that. Another thing is you should never let basic maths get in the way of a good overstatement. Here's a woman describing how long it takes young mums to look after their babies.
So these mums are only getting 1 hour off a day. They're working 23 hours a day.
Well, that's a lot of hours.
No, that's nothing.
When the baby was 9 months old, they actually were working more.
So working more than 23 hours a day. That's just like Idi Amin's Africa.
Of course, the ultimate overstatement is to simply say something is the worst thing in Australia.
Meet Australia's biggest freeloaders.
He's Australia's worst love rat.
This is Australia's most troubled housing estate.
Australia's worst landlord.
Australia's worst landlord.
Australia's laziest husband. Australia's worst driver. Australia's most dangerous drink driver exposed.
Bob Arthur could very well be Australia's most burgled man.
Maybe so, but sometimes being the worst thing in Australia isn't bad enough. Like this guy here. Now, he wasn't very happy about his street.
Well, I think this is the worst street in Australia.
But reporter Ben McCormack thought he wasn't extreme enough, so he found someone who thought it was even worse.
This is the most unlivable street in the world.
The most unlivable street in the world.
It's funny that, because we actually looked up Francis Street, Yarraville, in the Guinness Book of Records, and amazingly it wasn't there. So we thought that was a problem that had to be rectified at once.
Good morning, Guinness Book of Records.
Hi there. I've just been watching a current affair, and apparently Francis Street, Yarraville, is the most unlivable street in the world. But I actually looked in the book, the Book of Records, and it's not there at the moment.
Okay, it'd be hard for us to define what unlivable is.
Well, maybe you can define it by this way. Because I talked to this guy with glasses, and he said that it's like having a 747 going through your lounge room sometimes.
All right, yeah, we'll have a look into that.
So you reckon we got a record there?
You might be, yeah.
Might be? Why wouldn't we be? You don't trust Ben McCormick and Tracy Grimshaw and the guy with the glasses?
Okay, we'll have a look into it.
Now, one of the problems with current affairs is that stories often happen before you get a chance to turn up and film them. And the only way they can provide footage is with a super realistic reenactment. For instance, feel the power of this guy pretending to have a heart attack.
Wife Carol had no idea her husband was being struck down by a life-threatening heart attack.
Well, no wonder she had no idea if he was that unconvincing. Better still is this devastating portrayal of an abusive boss. And a warning, this may offend some viewers, particularly those who value realism.
No. F***ing no! Do you know how much trouble I've gone for you? You monkey face. You're f***ing out of here, mate. You're f***ing out of here.
Idiot. Stunts there as well.
You're not.
Gritty. Now, in this next piece, they were trying to recreate a fight scene, and I think they might have gotten the choreographer from The Matrix for this one. Just look at these punches.
Look at this. Clearly within at least a metre of his face. Connecting there. Oh, this is
extraordinary work.
It's not extraordinary, it's absolute rubbish. The punches didn't even connect. It was just...
What do you mean? That was like Tarantino at his very best.
Absolute crap, mate. It was absolute
Look,
crap.
that was a great fight scene.
It was not
and
a
if
great
you don't like
scene.
it, let's step outside now.
Okay, let's go.
Right.
Okay. Now on to today's lesson, celebrity fluff. Now we saw a great example of celebrity fluff last week with Nicole and Keith's wedding, or as Today Tonight called it,
the wedding of the century.
That's right. For the next 94 years, we will not see as big a wedding. You cannot exaggerate the importance of this wedding enough. Just ask reporter Sonia Kruger.
The whole world wants to be at Nicole and Keith's wedding this weekend.
Now, that is actually true. The whole world did actually want to be there. I was speaking to this African child the other day. He was very disappointed he didn't get invited.
The problem is, but how can you possibly give blanket coverage to a wedding when you don't actually have any facts about it? Luckily, ACA's reporters are blessed with boundless imaginations, so they can simply guess the truth.
Could that be the wedding decorator? Is there a veil inside that box? Off to visit family? Perhaps.
There's been a bit of speculation about where it'll take place.
Now, there were reports that it was going to be at the Royal Motor Yacht Club. Also on the maybe list, this church at North Sydney. Now, it's rumoured that the guests of Nicole and Keith will also be here. The host of superstars are rumoured to attend. Perhaps talking about Baz Luhrmann.
There's a rumour that Meryl Streep is in town.
The rumour is that she has touched down. It is a rumour.
No, it's not a rumour, it's 12 rumours.
Give James Thomas a break. The poor guy. He was forced to produce 5 entire reports about a wedding he clearly knew nothing about. No wonder he was coming up with dubious angles like this.
Nicole's remarriage has given a lot of hope to people out there who have maybe gone through a first marriage that has broken up.
Yes, Nicole's given hope to divorced Australians, but sadly no hope to James Thomas of regaining his credibility.
Now listen, James, the story is dead, mate. Let it go. Look, we'll even say this in a language current affairs reporters can understand, OK? This is what you're doing.
Stop your facts! Now! I don't care if you are dead! Give me up!
Admittedly, James Thomas did come up with some amazing scoops.
No, he did.
For instance, I was gobsmacked when he revealed where Nicole's kids were.
Kidman's kids are here. They flew into Sydney Airport and then Isabella and Connor were whisked away by a security team to be with Mum.
Nicole's kids were with their mum. Whoa! ACA must have some awesome sources.
Oh, they do. They do. Look, while most reporters would be content with merely speaking to Keith and Nicole themselves, James Thomas went straight to the veritable deep throat of Keith and Nicole's wedding gate.
What, their parents?
No.
Their friends?
No.
Their wedding planner?
No. They went to Keith Urban's musical agent from Headline Entertainment, and he had all the juicy tidbits.
So, Rob, did you have the beef or the salmon?
I had the beef.
Poor old James Thomas. He must have the worst boss in the world to make him pump out that kind of crap.
Right. Well, I mean, he couldn't possibly be worse than our boss, I imagine.
Fucking no! Fucking no! You know how much trouble I've gone
time for you fucking monkey face! You're fucking out of here, mate! You're fucking out of here! You're fucking fuckwit!
Now, before we get into it, we have an urgent update about youth going wild. So forget about your out-of-control teens. Today Tonight has revealed the age of criminals is getting younger and younger.
The township is at mercy of youth gangs, including children as young as 6 years old.
Now, we have some live vision of this town in crisis, and I've got to say, it's not looking good. Please don't call me.
Also, in brief, a current affair taught us about obsessive-compulsive disorder.
What are you going to catch off the sink, do you think?
Germs, contamination, things that are going to make me sick, make me ill.
It's very hard to fathom that disorder, isn't it?
It is hard to fathom, Tracy. Where do you think that girl could have gotten such ideas from?
Helen's sink recorded 1.5 million bacteria. Karen's sink was worse, 1.8 million bacteria.
But on to today's lesson, Neighbours from Hell. Now, one thing that amazes me about these reports is the sheer bravery of the journalists.
Oh, intrepid and fearless. I mean, look, forget your foreign correspondents in Afghanistan. These current affairs guys go after lethargic hoarders. They confront extremely old ladies, and I admire the courage of this dithering spruikers on the back of trucks.
You've got something to hide?
And they don't do it just once either, Andrew, but over and over again. For instance, this is a report from January when an eccentric old lady's behaviour forced a guy to pack up and move house.
This is the way it's been in Ponderosa Parade on Sydney's northern beaches for too many years.
Bye. Bye, house.
It's very dangerous driving while playing the banjo.
But Andrew, the fact that that guy moved away and the story was actually over, now that's no reason to leave the woman alone.
No.
And it's certainly no reason Today Tonight can't use the same footage of the same man and the same neighbour to rehash that story again in May.
Stop spitting on me.
She's at the centre of Australia's longest neighbourhood dispute.
And yet again in June. 5 whole months after the conflict had been resolved.
Right. Now, the funny thing about bad neighbours, though, I don't know if you've noticed, is that they only ever move into paradise. They don't just show up any old where.
Well, that's certainly the case with when At the Movies moved next door to us.
It was an idyllic office where peace reigned and all was well with the world, until he moved in next door.
Get away! Bloody kill you! Get away!
I'll give him 4 stars, Andrew.
I disagree, 2.5.
Well, enough of crazy pensioners. Let's move on to the other kind of Neighbours from Hell story, massive beat-ups. Some of these stories attain almost newsworthy proportions.
Now, how would you feel if your neighbour started building a towering mega mansion next door?
So it's not just a mansion, it's not just a towering mansion, it's a towering mega mansion.
Now, let's look at this towering mega mansion of Naomi's. How big do you reckon it was?
It's a metre higher than it should be.
Jeez, now the beat-ups don't end there. Look, this next chap was a bit put out by his neighbour who was feeding these noisy birds.
Sorry, hang on. Birds?
Feeding birds.
No, they weren't birds.
Imagine your backyard constantly engulfed by the piercing screams of 100 tiny jet engines.
Is that?
Oh, yeah, well, and that was a positive... That was an understatement compared to this lady's argument.
Sorry, hang on, an argument?
An argument.
No, it wasn't an argument.
It's just erupted into World War III.
It was a major international conflict.
Yes, apparently fought in the air by hundreds of tiny jet engines.
Now, for those of you keeping track of your world wars, this was World War I, this was World War II, and this is World War III.
You did start that. It's all Miss Tammy Gilchrist over there, never done nothing.
Lest we forget. But despite all appearances, these Neighbours from Hell stories are much more than just an excuse to beat up on the fragile and vulnerable. In fact, Naomi Robson was particularly sensitive in one report.
But we'd ask you not to blame the people who live in these circumstances because as we've discovered, a lot of these residents are in need of help and support and they're simply not getting it.
Ah, that's right.
True.
Yes.
It's true.
But we ask you not to blame Naomi Robson for that completely understandable error. I'm really worried about our society, Andrew. I've heard of road rage and customer rage, but then I watched Today Tonight, and it turns out there are all these other rages I didn't even know existed.
We have bus rage, road rage, shopping trolley rage, car park rage, petrol rage.
Footpath rage.
I think we've got what we could call school rage.
Yes, they're all the rage. And look, I'm seeing an analyst myself, actually. I suffer from a terrible disorder. Yes, it's called Today Tonight rage.
Last 2 weeks, motorists have saved 10 cents on a litre of regular unleaded petrol.
Journalism!
On to today's lesson now. We're going to teach you about petrol prices. Now, current affairs shows they love doing stories on petrol prices. Such an easy way to generate outrage. This year, they would have done at least, 5 reports, petrol prices?
Oh, check the tally board.
Oh, my mistake. 18 for Today Tonight. ACA's done 34.
Now, when you're trying to come up with 34 different angles on petrol, you can get a little desperate. Pretty much any old angle will do, no matter how dubious.
Sky-high petrol prices forcing motorists to get creative about how they cover their purchase.
Spare wheels, wallets with all sorts of different credit cards, jewellery, watches, just goes on and on and on.
Yes, it's a new phenomenon that's sweeping the country, trading your tyres in for petrol.
Now, these shows are so keen on petrol prices that even stories that aren't about petrol prices are about petrol prices. For instance, this is ACA's complete coverage of the 2006 federal budget.
Last night's federal budget had plenty of sweeteners for Australians, but petrol prices still leave a sour taste.
And that's it.
That was it. To be fair, they have taught me some valuable lessons, actually, on how to save on fuel. And what I admire is the practicality of their advice.
Start walking.
Just don't use your car too often.
Don't have your golf clubs in the car.
Take out a home loan of more than $150,000 and save 40 cents a litre on fuel.
It's a great deal for a thrifty shopper there, Andrew. If you do the maths, they'll save you over $500 on petrol a year, leaving you only $149,500 out of pocket.
Yes, prudent. Prudent. I've gone one step better, actually. I've taken the easy-to-follow advice of this expert on ACA and started making my own fuel.
You start with a vegetable oil or animal fat. You add an alcohol and a catalyst, similar to making soap. You remove the glycerin and do a little refining process that you had biodiesel.
Very easy.
It's so simple. I mean, why do this when you could do this?
But while ACA was teaching us how to become wanted by ASIO, Today Tonight was conducting a rigorous survey of all the petrol chains in a completely impartial manner. They talked to David Shimshak from United.
And I think consumers are getting the message that they need to support independent companies because without independence there'll be no competition.
David Shimshak from United.
And people need to get behind the independence because no independence means no competition.
And David Shimshak from United.
And I think that what consumers need to do is support independence because without independence there'll be no competition.
Sorry, David, I didn't get that. Why should we support independent petrol stations?
Without independence there'll be no competition.
Okay.
That's why. David. But, look, we do not want to give you the impression that Today Tonight we're just running ads for these guys.
Oh, no.
First, United wants to draw your attention to the importance of the independent service stations. Here's an informative report from Jackie Quest.
Great deals for motorists from David Shimshak and the team at United.
At the end of the day, the customers are the winners.
They certainly are.
Now, look, they've got so many appearances by David Shimshak to squeeze in. Poor guy, he couldn't possibly fulfil them all. So we decided to go to Today Tonight and offer them an entire army of David Shimshaks.
Hello there.
Hi, we've got a bunch of David Shimshaks for you.
Now, we know you guys like to run David Shimshak stories, way too many stories for one man to film. So with all these guys, you can run them 24/7, day and night. Should we film some stories, hey?
Let's do some reports.
Sorry, guys.
Okay. We're going to do some stories.
These are real David Shimshaks.
Without independence, there'll be no competition. And they can do it on any topic. What do you think about the crisis in Lebanon? Without independence, there'll be no competition.
What do you reckon about Pirates of the Caribbean?
Without independence, there'll be no competition.
You see?
Beautiful.
So,
It's like a choir, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is. It is.
Yeah, it
A
is.
choir of shimshacks. So, shall we make some reports?
No.
Why not?
All right. You can't run non-Shimshack stories.
Yes, we can.
I've never seen one.
Well, first up, a great lesson from Today Tonight about protecting your sources. You see, this next lady didn't want to be identified, so they shaded out her face, and now there's no way you could possibly know who she was.
Penny Jones doesn't want to be identified, fearing retribution from the Wright family.
Penny Jones, your secret's safe with us.
They always get their talent on these shows, don't they? When Today Tonight did an informative report on how to make your hair look good, they didn't just get any hairdresser. They got this stylish fellow on the left.
Oh, look, give him a break, Hanso. I think he's great. I love the new look he gave Naomi Robson.
All right, but on to today's lesson now, ethnics. Now, the first thing I learned about ethnics is that they are everywhere.
It's on, wave after wave, the foreign invasion of Australia's workforce.
Yes, they are everywhere. Did you know that over the last 10 years, 50,000 Chinese people have moved to New South Wales?
Well, 50,000's not that many.
No, it's not. But what's 50,000 in current affairs language?
New South Wales is the clear favourite, with nearly 60,000 Chinese setting up home base.
Well, look, to be fair, current affairs shows are very careful when it comes to a sensitive issue like ethnicity.
Oh, yeah, the last thing you'd want to do is inflame the situation.
Operation Middle East. They have no respect for the law, so here comes the crackdown.
Like a pack of wild animals in a feeding frenzy over a carcass, gang crime driven by race.
That is absolutely true. Ethnic gangs are a huge problem. Just look at this list of gang names.
I mean, look at the disgraceful list of gangs here. I mean, oh, hang on a sec. Just go back a bit there on the
bedwetting posse.
I see there. Incontinent and dangerous. Well, no wonder passions are so high, but look, fortunately, when ACA wanted some expert comments about foreign workers, they chose to approach these renowned sociologists for their detached academic view of the situation.
Say, Buzzy, jobs!
Guest workers, which I term as germ workers.
What do you call them, germ workers?
Well, a germ is something that undermines you. There's nothing good about a germ.
Profound. Meanwhile, Today Tonight has found their own race expert, this fishing store owner.
Dean Ruff says he's not a redneck or a racist. He just doesn't want migrants buying his bait and tackle. He's so fed up, he made this sign for his front door.
Now, let's just take a look at that sign again, can we? If you can't speak or understand English and won't Leanne, do not entry.
There you have it, in plain English.
Yes, and if you want to hear more of Dean Ruff's views, I recommend his autobiography, My Loaf.
The question is, what effect does all this ignorant hysteria have on your audience? Well, that can be answered by a Today Tonight poll. Should migrants be stripped of their citizenship if they don't share Australian values?
And deporting people with different values is a fairly reasonable proposition, and TT's level-headed viewers gave a pretty moderate response.
99% of people saying yes, while only 1% disagreed.
But what exactly are these Australian values anyway? Current affairs shows don't have a lot to say about them, actually, but they are very good at telling us what's un-Australian. For example,
tonight's scandalous markups on food.
I think it's very un-Australian.
The jury is still out on private parking inspectors.
I think they're very un-Australian.
One rule for the high flyers and another for the rest of us is un-Australian. Well, now to something very un-Australian. Residents of a caravan park are told to pack their bags and get out.
Have the hide to ban sausage sizzle fundraisers.
If you thought shortchanging our kids was un-Australian...
This woman was slugged more than $1,000 in fines for a car she never owned.
It's un-Australian.
It's quite an exhaustive list there.
Yes. Well, we think it's about time people were tested for how Australian they are. And who better to start with than the very people who created the rules? So test 1, 2 sets of rules. I went to Today Tonight. Can you let me into the building, please? If I was Naomi Robson, would you let me into the building? You would? So you'd let Naomi Robson in, but not me?
Test 2, private parking inspectors at ACA. Need to get some tickets to these guys here. I'm a private parking inspector. You don't mind? That's okay? Fantastic. Thank you very much for that.
Test 3. Would Today Tonight ban a sausage sizzle?
Sizzle, sausage, sizzle, sausage, sizzle. Free sausage sizzle.
Fire hazard.
Sorry, Claire.
Fire hazard.
Sorry, guys. Sausage sizzle's off.
And test 4, would ACA evict a caravan? Just want to ask you another question as well. Guys, my mates here were hoping to move in, just out the front here in the driveway.
Hey, buddy.
Would you like to move in with them?
Wait till come in.
Come in?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, come on. Come on.
Just make yourselves at home.
And you don't mind if the caravan stays out the front, do you?
No, not at all.
That's fantastic.
What are you
that
doing, Sobo?
Is totally Australian. You guys are more Australian than Today Tonight.
Mate, this is how Australian I am. That's Ray Martin.
Yeah.
Right? That's for you.
So the results are in, and a current affair was Australian 1 point to 0, which means Today Tonight will have to be deported.
Thank Christ for that. And a big thanks to Ben Fordham for this photo. Yeah, we'll be sure to treat it with all the respect it deserves.
OK, first up, unemployment. This week I learnt how you can spot a real doll bludger. They're always playing computer games.
This is how 49-year-old Kevin Crawley spends a good part of his day.
He spends his days playing computer games.
Dad Fred is too sick to work. He hasn't had a job in 5 years.
Just a tip, by the way, if you ever do find yourself in a current affairs piece and the reporter tries to set up a shot with you playing computer games, probably time to get a job.
That's right. I mean, fancy these bludgers taking a break anyway. They should be working 24 hours a day. I mean, look, just this morning, I found this whole building full of these people. I had to go in there and sort them out.
You lazy, bludging, sponging bludgers! Get off your lazy arse and look for a job now! Why aren't you out looking for work? I'm on holiday! Rubbish! Get out, you drain of society!
Now, it's not like it's hard to find a job either. For instance, reporter Rodney Lois turned up out of the blue with their Centrelink office with a job offer no one could resist.
We're from Channel 7. Apparently there's a fruit picking shortage up in Mildura, and we're going to take a free bus up there if anyone's interested in coming up there with us tomorrow to pick fruit.
Now, how lazy would you be to not immediately move house to a small country vineyard and undertake manual labour? Bludgers!
You see, that is why they call them the wasted generation, right there.
Sorry? Who calls them the wasted generation?
They do.
Who?
They do.
They call them the wasted generation.
Oh, them! Oh, they've been very busy on current affairs shows lately, giving names to everything.
In Australia, they call it the Kylie effect.
I guess they call me the Colonel Sanders of weight loss.
They call the Mekong Delta the toilet bowl of Asia.
Nice. They call it unsubstantiated bullshit.
Well, let's look at the current affairs tally board now. And a big week for Today Tonight, of course, in the medical freak show category. They're leading ACA 22 stories to 17. They are ahead in Pokey's outrage, 10 stories to 1.
And who would have thought that there'd be only one story about how bad pokies are on a show owned by PBL, owners of Crown Casino?
It's quite a coincidence. Finally, a big milestone for Today Tonight. They are celebrating their 100th Rip-Off Merchants Report for 2006.
Well done, well done, well done. And we have prepared a very special cake to symbolise that glorious achievement.
Congratulations, guys. Now to this week's lesson. Fatties.
Now, we say fatties, but we shouldn't give you the impression ACA is insensitive about people struggling with their weight. No. Just look at this piece by radical feminist reporter Brady Halls.
Oh, how life has changed for these 5 women. That would never have happened not so long ago. You see, they once looked like this.
Yes, get dieting now, ladies, for your chance to be wolf-whistled by seedy men.
And here is how you do it. Now, you may have thought that the best way to lose weight was to eat well and exercise.
Oh, no.
You are seriously mistaken.
Oh, no.
If you really want to slim down, you need one of these current affairs miracle cures.
Are you saying that there's a pill that helps you lose weight without diet or exercise?
That's amazing.
A new machine they hope will burn away their stubborn, wobbly bits without them lifting a finger.
Karen Gatt is best known for shedding 70 kilos by walking around the clothesline in her backyard.
and it literally melts the fat away.
Yes, it does.
Franz Hussingschwartner is a world expert on the treatment.
A skin patch.
I lost over 30 kilos.
Now she's turned to hypnosis. And you're at the perfect weight that suits you.
I feel healthy.
The other way to lose weight, of course, is to find yourself a motivational speaker who talks like Dr. Seuss.
Between main meals, I drink water or tea. Between each meal, I stay snack-free.
He's so charismatic when he speaks. I mean, if you thought this guy was inspirational...
Where they will not be judged by the colour of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Then you haven't seen Mark Stevens in full flight.
Drink more water, drink more water, drink more water. I am a winner. My destiny is to succeed. I will win.
What a great orator. And by the way, he is absolutely right about the people who attend his course.
According to Mark, it's their brain at fault.
Well, some fantastic weight loss solutions there anyway. Now, one guy who's very keen on weight loss, of course, is David from The Biggest Loser. He's already lost 61 kilos through actual hard work, so we thought the least we could do is finish the job off for him the easy way. First up, we tried the slim patches. And they were going quite well, so I read him some Dr. Seuss.
One fish, two fish, blue fish.
Then we tried the magic pills, a bit of hypnosis.
Then the fat-melting wand we tried next, and a good dose of Dr. Hussingschwartner. There we go.
And then we did them all at once while walking around a clothesline. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the all-new David from The Biggest Loser!
I've been very, very upset lately at all these tragedies we've been having. I mean, the conflict in Lebanon, the Russian air crash, you know. But I did learn that for real gut-wrenching heartache, you need go no further than your local supermarket.
These days, with so much to choose from, it can be a nightmare.
Stressful, emotional. It's a really emotional journey to go to the supermarket.
I know. Look, I'm not normally an emotional guy, but my supermarket just has so many options.
There's so much choice. The choice.
Right, on to this week's lesson, moral judgment. Now, as far as I'm concerned, current affairs shows cannot judge people enough. For God's sake, if we wanted to think for ourselves, we wouldn't be watching current affairs shows, would we?
No. And there are all sorts of ways to pass judgment on people in these shows. I mean, you could slip in a subtle graphic label.
He has no job and no worries.
Or you could add an almost imperceptible bias to your questioning.
What kind of business are you running here? This is Dodgy Brothers, isn't it?
I just get confused by wishy-washy rubbish like that. I mean, who's the bad guy? Just tell us. See, now, here's another one of these totally ambiguous clips.
These are the faces of pure evil.
See, these fence-sitting journos.
I'm working it. Well, look, of course, you'd expect reporters to put a spin on their own stories, but what I respect about Today Tonight is the way host Naomi Robson stays above it all. This woman is the essence of neutral detachment.
Yes, for goodness sake, have some decency. And let's hope his next photo opportunity is at the cop shop. Well, it seems clear she has no shame. Whatever happened to common sense and compassion?
Now, I don't want to be judgmental, Hanso, but looking at those last few grabs, I can't help but think...
These are the faces of pure evil.
Now, ultimately, when it comes to passing moral judgment, there's only one thing you really need to know: the word shame.
This man deserves to be shamed and feel ashamed. This millionaire claimed Centrelink benefits. No wonder she's ashamed.
Really is shameful, isn't it? It's time something was done.
Do you have any shame about what you were doing today?
Here, no, Cruz. Shame, shame, shame.
Shaming is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And there's only one thing in this whole world that is better than shaming.
Better than shaming? What?
Naming and shaming.
99% agree that juveniles should be named and shamed.
Love rats named and shamed. One of the doctors named and shamed. The women naming and shaming the cheats.
He's going to name and shame these shonks. The mums publicly naming and shaming their children.
So name and shame them?
Absolutely.
Now, look, it's all very well to sort of bandy terms around like naming and shaming, but I've never actually seen anyone on these shows do it. And it got me wondering, you know, what does naming and shaming actually look like?
What are you talking about? I did it to you this morning. Andrew Hansen! Andrew Hansen! Andrew Hansen! Andrew Hansen! You're Andrew Hansen! Andrew Hansen! Named and shamed.
Fair enough, fair enough. Look, actually, I think there isn't enough naming and shaming. I mean, I am terrified by this world we live in. I mean, every day there's some new reason to work yourself up into a frenzy of panic.
How common household appliances can turn deadly in a matter of minutes.
Things found in and around the home could also wreak havoc with our health.
Basically your body deodorants, your air room deodorants, your toilet deodorants.
Many of our outfits could very easily go up in flames when we're warming ourselves in front of the fire.
We put takeaway sandwiches to the test, and the results have sparked a major health investigation.
Now, a warning for homeowners, a new super termite could be marching its way towards your house.
After testing coins and notes for a year, he occasionally found high levels of dangerous bacteria.
Butchers can't be trusted.
A concurrent study reveals that boredom and simply doing nothing is literally consigning men to an early grave.
Jesus, that stuff is frightening. It reminds me of this awful nightmare I've been having lately.
No, not deodorant! Not deodorant! No!
Have some money.
Butchers can't be trusted! It's a super termite! What are you telling?
Nothing.
Now, straight up, a special mention to Naomi Robson, who this week unveiled her new co-host.
It's prompted child behavioural experts to warn parents to treat Steve's death as a serious issue with their children.
Yes, you want to treat Steve's death as a serious issue, Naomi.
Yeah, I like the lizard. It's got a lot more charisma than she does. It's a better understanding of the world.
Yeah, but people say dressing up like Steve Irwin was a bit tasteless. So, I don't know. I thought it was nothing compared to what she wore when David Hooks died.
Now, there's a lot of drama in current affairs shows, but look, they're not all doom and gloom. People have problems and they get over them. And the one thing everybody does while recovering is walk along the beach.
For 11 long years, Christian Pereira has been searching for the truth.
Now, look at them all. I mean, can you believe how many bereaved people are walking around on our beaches? And, you know, with all that suffering, the least I could do was offer those people some comfort. You're right. Yeah? You're right. It's okay. We'll get through it.
I thought you were going to kiss me then.
We'll get through it. You've got to give yourself permission to grieve.
Okay.
It's all right, madam. We'll make it.
Let the healing begin. Look, it's the end of the series, so we're delighted to present the What Have We Learnt from Current Affairs This Week Awards. Our first award is for the biggest overstatement in current affairs this year. And it goes to this woman speaking about school children whose soccer balls occasionally land on her roof.
It's just like living in Beirut, you know, banging, bang, bang, bang.
Next up, we have the award for the best comic turn. And who else could it go to but master impressionist Chris Simmond and his world-famous Leighton Hewitt routine.
So, not even Leighton Hewitt can throw his voice 10 kilometres. Come on, Mr. Jones.
The man's a genius. But now the award for the most number of nods during an interview. And check out this marathon nod from reporter Erin Edwards, standing on the right.
Maria, are you changing lives here?
Erin, I actually really believe that we are, and I really hope that we are. I mean, when you look at these children, when you see the difference from when we first started with them to today, the transformation is quite amazing.
23 nods! Extraordinary, isn't it?
But now for the most dangerous place in Australia award. And this one goes to Neighbours, New South Wales, where the drug pushers simply won't take no for an answer.
We made no efforts to conceal who we were or where we were from, but within the space of 1 minute, we were offered drugs 6 times.
So you're actually getting offered drugs every 10 seconds. It's a shame that they didn't get any footage of the reporter actually being offered any drugs whatsoever.
Don't be sarcastic, Andrew. It's totally true. Look, I went to Neighbours for just 24 hours and I came back with 8,400 spliffs. Look at that.
It is quite a lot. Well, look. Well, if you think that's alarming, this is the award for wildest youths. Now, all year, Current Affairs has been telling us criminals are getting younger and younger, but only Today Tonight has the courage to expose the baby-faced menace that's bringing down society.
They're barely out of nappies and already they're being taught to thieve.
Using a 3-year-old to steal from a market is part of a growing trend.
That's no exaggeration either. We've got some security camera footage here which you might find disturbing.
Give me the bubble!
Look. Look, there are all kinds of problems in this world, but luckily we have experts to solve them.
Of course, some experts are more expert than others. And the most expert is Damien Tudorhope.
The Family Association's Damien Tudorhope.
Who's turned up on Current Affairs shows no less than 12 times this year.
Extraordinary. Good old Damien Tudorhope. You just set up a camera and he can't help but walk in front of it.
Just before we go, we'd like to read out a letter that we received a few weeks back. Quite, why don't you guys say something positive about Current Affairs shows for once, instead of always knocking and whinging?
Fair point.
Well, you're absolutely right. We have been very harsh. And so to finish the year on a positive note, we've decided to finally give some credit where it's due and give someone a pat on the back for a job well done. So we went to the ACA offices. You guys have won the award. Just like to present it.
Big time.
Don't they want to win the award? Don't you guys want to collect your award? You've collected an award. Well done.
Congratulations, everybody.
Well done.
Thank you very much. You have won the Slightly Less Crap Than Today Tonight award.
Well done. You've done it. Honestly, it was really close for a while there, but when Naomi Robson started wearing Steve Irwin's clothes, the lizard.
That just brought them down.
You pipped them.
You were ahead.
Well done.
Do you want to make a speech to the millions of Australians who turn you on while they're cooking dinner?
We feel we're doing a very good job at Current Affairs, and I'm glad that you guys think the same thing.
Do they thank the welfare cheats?
The welfare cheats?
Yeah, and the rip-off merchants?
Oh, thank them for what?
And the greedy councils for giving you the material.
All the material. Why don't you thank the schizophrenics and the mad, mentally ill people who you go? Come on.
Thanks to everybody. Thanks, guys.
Well done.
The main thing we learned about Current Affairs shows last year is that they are the very models of fair, detached journalism. And it's good to see that tradition continuing this year. Here's Today Tonight's delicate profile of some ex-Big Brother housemates.
Remember these two turkeys?
Reasonable. And Today Tonight is never more reasonable than on the subject of Mercedes Corby.
Yes, now you might remember in February, Jodi Power accused Mercedes Corby of being a bit of a druggie. Well, Today Tonight are on Jodi's side.
And the Current Affair are on Mercedes' side.
And to represent these two, we've chosen these cheap, dim-witted dolls.
Now, if you haven't seen her in the flesh before, of course, Mercedes Corby looks like this. Here she is. Or, of course, if you watch Today Tonight, she looks like this. Yes, there she is. No doubt that's the most flattering footage Channel 7 could find.
Yes. And that very fair slow-motion effect was used, of course, during an interview by host Anna Corrin.
This is a complete fabrication.
Anna Corrin, everyone.
You can understand, of course, why Today Tonight has it in for Mercedes, because they have some very serious evidence backing up Jodi Power. Now, prepare yourself for these startling revelations from a Corby clan insider.
He says he was stunned when Jodi Power spoke out. He doesn't know her, but he does believe her.
A guy who's never met Jodi Power? Oh, you're gone, Corby.
Yes, it's impressive. But look, it's not who he is, but it's actually what that guy says that blows the whole case open.
I don't know too much about Mercedes, but the truth about Chappelle
The truth, it's the truth.
Tenuous is tenuous. But on top of all that hard evidence, they even put Jodi Power on a lie detector.
Yep, Today Tonight are always chaining someone to something.
But for Mercedes, a polygraph wasn't good enough. Oh no, they savaged her with the most foolproof lie detection process known to man. Reading the body language of someone through a TV screen when you can't actually see their body.
Well, to be fair, Andrew, body language can be actually revealing of what a person actually thinks. Today Tonight.
Yes. Either way, here is the body language expert's conclusion.
She says it's lies, showing that she's not really on solid ground about what she's saying and believing what she's saying. Because when you're being honest and open about what you're saying and you believe it, you say it would be lies. Lies, as opposed to lies.
Yes, you see, she spoke like this. I mean, not only therefore is she a liar, so is this parrot.
Polly want a cracker? Polly want a cracker?
Jeez, if speaking in the upper register makes you a liar, I wouldn't trust much of what this woman's saying.
Just get the camera out of my face, will you?
Don't touch the cameras, please.
Just get out so I can go.
No, really, we shouldn't mock the body language guy. It's not like he's full of shit.
Actually, now, Today Tonight aren't the only ones with body language experts.
Oh, no.
It's Jodi's sudden eye movements that Janet Hall says are the giveaway.
Oh.
You moved your eyes! Well, look, if moving your eyes is a problem, it really makes you wonder how sincere Sylvester Stallone was being when he told ACA how much he likes Australia.
And in Australia...
So after all that, what is the verdict? Well, they're both infuriating bogans.
Of course, the massive scandal in this whole thing was actually when Today Tonight lied to Mercedes so they could ambush her in this cafe, you know. But what really touched my heart was the reason TT pulled out at the last minute.
We didn't film anything with Mercedes because she had a baby with her. Any mother with a baby, of course, you don't film them.
A baby? A baby? Is that all it takes to avoid being beaten up by Today Tonight?
Yes, well, and we thought that information could come in very handy for the type of people Today Tonight usually target.
Hey! Muslim! Today Tonight's coming.
You need this baby now.
This lucky cat won't protect you. You need a baby. They're coming. They're coming!
Beware, microbes! Helen Wellings is on the loose! Save yourselves!
Now, one of the most crucial parts of any current affairs report is blaming someone for an outrage. For instance, Chaz, you remember that race riot at the Australian Open?
Yeah.
Right. Who do you think was to blame for that?
The race rioters?
No, you've got to blame more people than that. In fact, you should take a lesson from the master of blame, columnist Andrew Bolt.
Who's to blame? Anyone who threw a punch is to blame. Anyone who yelled a racist insult is to blame. Primarily, they themselves are to blame, their parents are to blame, their community leaders are to blame, and Australian society is to some extent also to blame.
Well, damn you, everyone! You should be ashamed of yourselves.
Now, what we saw there, Andrew, was a great list of menaces to society. And a current affair needs all the menaces it can get, because if we look at the current affairs tally board for 2007, they're trailing Today Tonight 34 menace to society stories of 24.
But never fear, a current affair are more than holding their own in the crucial mindless celebrity fluff category. 69 stories to 34. It's an average of one a day. Very impressive.
But where the tension really builds is in the old people screwed over category. It's neck and neck at 9 stories all there. So if you're an old person who's been banned from knitting, Today Tonight wants you now.
On to today's lesson now. The one thing everyone involved with the current affairs show has in common, from the targets to the reporters to the viewers, is humiliation.
Take, for instance, this man on a current affair. Now, his name's Harley. He's a bit overweight, and ACA wanted to find out how many kilos he was, for his own good, of course, naturally. So what's the most dignified way to do that on national television?
With no scales big enough to check Harley's weight, we've brought him here to a horse stable for a weigh.
I was
probably the most humiliating time of my life so far.
What, being weighed on horse scales or appearing on A Current Affair?
Still, you know, why go to the trouble of humiliating someone when you can make them humiliate themselves? Take this guy, right? He went through this terrible ordeal. He had to wait hours in an emergency room in his underwear. Now, here's A Current Affair helping him get over his shame.
I was dressed in a pair of boxer pants and a singlet.
That must have felt great.
It was very embarrassing. I felt so demoralising that, people come through and they're looking at you.
And now 1.4 million ACA viewers are also looking at you. And what better way, Andrew, to help a girl crippled by body image issues than to showcase her oversized breasts from as many camera angles as possible?
Elise Flanagan would normally be too shy to show her 14G chest. More than anything, I hate the attention.
Yes, well, here's some of that attention she hates, all the dignity of a camera hovering inches away from her breasts at every conceivable angle, and she'd especially enjoyed this 180-degree tracking shot, reminiscent of The Matrix.
And you're never too young to be humiliated, Andrew.
Oh, no.
Just look at the tactful way this little boy finds out for the first time that his father has rejected him.
Jessica, have you thought about how hard it's going to be to tell Chad that his daddy doesn't love him and doesn't want him?
Well, how do you tell any child that their father doesn't want anything to do with them?
How do you tell him? You simply asked reporter Rowan Wen to do it for you.
And if you'd like Rowan Wen to tell someone near and dear to you that their entire self-worth is based upon a lie, give him a call today.
You know, all those poor people, and I can't think of anything more humiliating than what they went through.
Really? I can.
I vote for the Democrats!
I'm the treasurer of the Pussycat Dolls fan club. I enjoyed watching Norbert.
I want to have sex with my own parents! What has you become? I don't have a son anymore.
You see?
Yeah, that is more humiliating. So obviously, with current affairs reporters so good at spreading this misery, you have to avoid them at all costs. And we've got some helpful hints from the professionals themselves, Dodgy guys.
First up, this man. Now, he works on the logic that if he can't see the reporter can't see him. And isn't that tactic working a treat? See, now, this guy really has the upper hand now. He has that reporter exactly where he wants him. He comes out of this whole encounter looking squeaky clean and with his dignity fully intact.
Well, blue shirts, they're the perfect form of camouflage, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, in the jungle, chameleons use them all the time.
I want to take my hat off to this next guy. This is the first time in 2 years of watching current affairs that we've witnessed a man fight back. Reporter Chris Allen thinks he's got this sad old man trapped in a room. Oh, but Allen doesn't know what's about to hit him.
What gives you the right to be rude about people in the window, Mr. Fraser? So, can you tell us why you think it's funny to put these signs in the window, Mr. Fraser?
Whoa! Take that, Chris Allen. Let's look at that again on the Channel 9 hotspot. Now you can see where Chris Allen's forehead hits a sweet spot in the door, right there.
Well done, you feisty old bugger. In fact, you deserve a prize.
Excuse me, old man, we've brought you a precariously balanced cream cake.
Now, whatever you do, don't make any sudden moves.
I wasn't expecting that to happen at all.
I would have thought that would have happened. Boy, do we have a treat for you guys tonight, because we have discovered a completely new phenomenon in current affairs.
It's never been seen before. It's a whole new world. Brace yourself for the Segway. Now, in the past, Today Tonight would have gone straight from a report about drink driving to a story about fruit juice without batting an eyelid, but those times are long gone.
Yes, Anna Corrin has started doing seamless segues, and you've got to admire just how smooth they are.
Karen Cooper on the excesses of alcohol. Another excess, fruit juice. Just as deadly according to new research.
Well, she got there. Well done, Anna. Yeah, but that was an easy segue, you know. Let's crank up the dial to medium. Try linking a story about an abused Ukrainian swimmer to a story about a lettuce grower.
Well, we all saw how she felt and felt for her. Sometimes rules aren't always wise. As we thought when we examined the case of a lettuce grower shut down by the council.
Well done, Anna. Such a natural transition. But finally, let's look at two reports that actually do share a thematic link: corporate high flyers and a banking dispute. Now, both are about money, so you'd think Anna could just throw from one to the next easily. Yet Einstein himself would be hard-pressed to follow this torturous current segue. Take it away, Anna.
Jonathan Creek on the select few who wouldn't notice the ATM fees on their accounts. Unlike the millions who today held their breath briefly while the Reserve Bank decision on interest rates was announced. And unlike the woman in this next story who found her bank reluctant to reduce fees on her home loan.
Yes, poor old Einstein. I mean, that segue really had him baffled, you know. I don't know what to do. Now, Einstein was a physicist from Germany, a country famed for its excellent beer. To produce beer, brewers must attend beer school, and at beer school they take many lessons. Lessons not unlike today's lesson.
Yeah! Today's lesson, menaces to society. Now, we've seen so many menaces on these shows. Armed robbers, drug traffickers, shonky builders, and then there's Today Tonight's favourite guy in the whole world.
This man is an armed robber, drug trafficker and shonky builder.
All at once!
A month's worth of stories right there. All right. The thing I love, you know, about Menace reports is the way they actually back up their hysteria with cold, hard statistics.
That is true, actually. Just watch reporter Jonathan Creek crunch the numbers on peeping toms who take photos up women's skirts.
Even more frightening is the number of upskirting sites on the internet. Typing the word into Google generates 7 million responses.
Wow, 7 million upskirting websites.
Oh, wait, it gets worse.
No.
Look what happens when you type murder into Google. 82 million murderers on the internet.
Oh.
And look what happens when I type in shithouse reporters. Every single result, Jonathan Creek.
Oh, no. Jonathan Creek. These shows love menaces to society because they're all about drama. Nothing says drama like a good old face blurring. For example, blurring out one person is quite dramatic, but blurring out an entire family, now that is drama.
I thought it was more the size of the blurring. I mean, check out the drama with this guy that Rowan Wen's interviewing. Look at that.
Yeah.
But that's just his head and shoulders. For full impact, you have to blur out their entire body from head to toe. Just in case they recognise him from his flyer.
Another classic menace is, of course, the drink driver. Today Tonight hates them all. Oh, except one. Their own boss, Peter Meakin, who was busted for drink driving last week.
Now, the funny thing is, I wonder why we haven't seen them run a report like this one.
Also, Australia's most dangerous drink driver exposed. He hits the pubs, then hits the road.
He is a complete menace to everyone.
See how he's a tragedy waiting to happen in a moment. But first, to the worst drink driver we've ever come across. His name is
Peter Meakin.
He's hell-bent on putting road users' lives at risk.
Obviously, he doesn't care one little bit. Lock him up. Yeah.
Now that is a report I'd like to see.
Now, sadly, there's no Andrew this week since he was detained by security guards at the Logies, but I'm very happy to warm the seat for him. And before we get into it, it's time for Anna Corrin's Segue of the Week.
Now, let's see how Anna gets from a dodgy investment company to the latest news from Hollywood.
Brian Seymour as the authorities try to unravel the truth about FinCorp. To do that, they wouldn't want to rely on Hollywood, whose stars lead real lives that often have little resemblance to their public image.
She's done it again.
Well done, Anna. But look, we should give Today Tonight credit for one thing, their stirring tribute to the Anzacs.
Yes, I think the Diggers would have been proud of the poignant back-announce Anna Corrin made after this special Anzac Day report.
Together, wearing their medals with pride, equal and free because that's what they fought for. And the medal proof, we'll never forget.
Andrew Burke reporting. After the break, how to shrink your backside in your lunch hour.
Really? I mean, who cares? Like, really, who cares? Anzac Day's a joke. World wars mean nothing compared to the real battles of our time.
Richard, a war veteran, fought in a world war in New Guinea and Borneo. But by far, he reckons, his biggest battle has been with a car dealer near his home.
Yes, yes. Our grandfathers fought in the Great Car Dealer War. What a bloody battle it was.
Chin up, boys. We're going over the top.
Wait for your family snares. Come on into our colour. You know where to find us, where the place to be. Use cars.
Lest we forget.
But one thing that current affairs shows are really good at is dispensing handy hints and useful advice.
Yes, and first up, some advice for those who shout too loud during sex.
Yes, it's a massive issue, so massive that ACA even went to a psychologist to get some professional medical advice for the noisy couple.
Probably they should look at some kind of mouth gag, you know, not something that's going to cause them difficulty in breathing, but something that will muffle the sound.
Sounds very romantic.
Oh, hang on, Chris. I can think of one very good use for a mouth gag.
But of course, while you're having all that noiseless sex, you want to look your very best, don't you?
Yes, yes. Thankfully, these shows also offer us some wonderful beauty tips. Forget toothpaste.
Catherine Zeta-Jones swears strawberries are the best teeth whiteners. Our models agree.
I think everyone agrees, and I know Andrew's dentist certainly subscribes to that theory.
Look, being beautiful needn't be that hard. I mean, why go to the trouble of buying a single tube of lip gloss when you can protect your lips the easy way?
They're mixing honey, macadamia oil, beeswax and beetroot juice to make lip gloss.
So simple.
I gotta say, my lips feel a bit dry right now, come to think of it.
So do mine, and luckily I've got the recipe right here.
Fantastic. Let's go, honey, beetroot
Bit
juice.
of beeswax.
Beeswax, just mix it all up.
Oh, give me some lip gloss.
Here we go. I look beautiful.
Dead ringers for Barbara Cartland. But the best advice on a current affairs show would have to come... Put some more on, Shazzy. Yeah. Would have to come from the woman who loves telling people what to do, Pauline Hanson.
Now, not only does Pauline dispense advice, but she even helps you carry it out.
Pauline Hanson thinks we should go even further when it comes to dealing with those who have a problem with displaying the flag.
Go back where you came from. You're clearly not Australian. I'll take them to the airport, actually. I'll pay for the taxi fare there, and they can leave the country.
She'll pay for the cab fare. Wow. God knows I need a holiday, and I think displaying the flag can be a little bit tacky. So, I went to take Pauline up on her offer. Hi, Pauline. Hiya. I just wanted to take you up on your generous offer, so I'm all packed up and ready to go to the airport. Let's go.
Darling, I'll take you to the airport, but I haven't even got a... Have you got a ride? You can give me a ride?
You can give me the cab money. I can go there. It's $40.
It's not going to happen.
I bet if I was David Oldfield, you'd help me leave the country.
You've got more chance.
Just wait in line with him.
Last lesson, we were taught about how current affairs shows are full of useful advice. Well, the tips just keep on coming. Forget buying meat from the butcher. You should shop the Today Tonight way.
On the outskirts of most towns and cities in Australia, you'll find the local sale yards. And there is absolutely nothing to stop you saving a bundle. Buying meat this way will save you thousands.
That's certainly how we run our kitchen. Andrew, can you pass a steak?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's cheap and convenient. I don't know why everybody doesn't cook this way. Delicious. On to today's lesson now. Now, current affairs shows, they got to fill up 5 episodes a week with drama, outrage and ethnic vilification. But sometimes stories aren't there, so how do you make something out of nothing? The answer is you find a desperate angle.
For example, let's say you're Today Tonight reporter Letitia Gibson. Now, she was sent off to do a story about a supposed miracle family. And boy, when it comes to scraping the bottom of the barrel, Letitia went straight through the cellar floor.
George and Lena say God hand-picked Mike from birth. This picture, taken when he was just 6 months old, they say prophetic in its similarities to this famous rendering of Jesus.
Oh, I see. You hold up a finger and that makes you Jesus.
You know what that means? Cricket umpire Steve Bucknor is also Jesus.
Well, let's go now to reporter Paul Macon. Now, Paul had to track down a mystery woman who failed to claim her lotto winnings from the newsagent. Paul was struggling, huh? But he managed to pad out his search with an interrogation worthy of Sherlock Holmes.
So, who is she? Maybe the main street name gives us a clue. Dora Street.
Dora. What about Doris?
We have no way we don't know.
Dolores? Diana. Maud.
Maud's a nice name, but...
Mabel. Zeta.
Zeta?
Zola.
Congratulations, Paul. That is 14 seconds saying a series of random names. If that's not primetime TV, my name's not Andrew, or Derek, or Gordon, or Neville, or Brian, or Laura. Oh, Jesus. God damn.
Stop it!
That really hurt. That was meant to be a sugar glass bottle that's supposed to break on your head. Instead, it nearly fractured my skull.
Didn't quite work. But every now and then, Today Tonight has a terrible lapse and they accidentally cover some news.
Oh.
Like after the Virginia Tech shooting. And how desperate were they to get someone, anyone, even vaguely connected to the incident? This desperate.
Where were you when the shootings began?
Not too far away, but far enough away that I couldn't hear the actual gunshots.
And when did you first discover the magnitude of what was going on?
Probably when I switched on the TV at like 10:30 in the morning.
Oh, that woman found out only an hour and a half after I did.
Yeah. She's currently receiving counselling for post-TV watching stress disorder.
No, but even if you do get hold of the right interview subject, sometimes you just can't get anything out of them. Poor reporter Peter Stefanovic. Oh, what a valiant effort he made to wring grief out of this man who narrowly escaped a boating accident.
What's it like being here now? Is it particularly chilling for you? Not really.
Heart-rending display.
Finally, what do you do if you're trying to run a story about models being too thin, but all you've got are these pictures of normal models? Now, admittedly, they are quite thin, but not nearly as thin as they were when Today Tonight was finished with them.
Preston went from this to this to this.
Sorry, can we look at those pictures again? Yes, the wonders of Photoshop. Now, there's the real ones on the left and Today Tonight's on the right. Instant ribs. That story brought to you by reporter Rowan Wen.
But we don't want Today Tonight to have to spend their nights trawling around the internet looking for doctored photos. If they want some fake anorexics, we're happy to oblige. I would like to speak to Anna Corrin, please.
Anna Corrin, just let me give her a call, thank you.
Anna.
Hello.
Boys, how are you?
We heard you needed some fake anorexics.
I know we're not as fake as the anorexics you guys usually use, but you can Photoshop us if you'd like.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We've even got the ribs.
I love it.
So you want to take some photos of us?
Yeah, let's do it.
Would you prefer us to be slightly more fake anorexic? We can go kind of go...
Well, do I need a checkbook?
Well, that's the way you guys do business, isn't it? It's all checkbook.
We do.
Okay, so where's the studio? Let's take some photos. Here we go, a bit like this. This will save you guys so much photoshopping time.
We could also be a fake bulimic and vomit all over you.
Well,
I usually do that when I watch Today Tonight.
Before we get into it, yes, it's that time again. Anna Corrin's Segway of the Week.
And this time, Anna's linking a story about barcode scanners getting the price wrong to fashion faux pas at the Logies. And isn't she drawing a longbow this time?
If they scan it wrong, you get it free. So, keep an eye out.
Good advice. Just check that everything is what it's supposed to be. Which would be good advice also for the over-anxious star guests at the Logies this weekend.
All right. This week I learnt about the scourge that is messy tenants.
Len Pretty has been a real estate agent for nearly 40 years, and he's seen the worst of the worst when it comes to trashing tenants. He believes landlords should be able to ban anyone they consider undesirable.
Interesting. No, hang on. Could we have a look at that real estate agent again? He's evicting messy tenants. But look at the state of that office. Something needs to be done about that Len Pretty guy.
Pretty! This desk is a disgrace! You are evicted!
Took care of him. But the topic of this week's lesson is one very dear to our hearts. Stories about the chaser.
Oh, yes. They've been coming thick and fast, these beat-ups about us, ever since Chris put on 200 kilos and Julian became a Muslim and Craig got himself a boob job.
Now, at first these chaser stories were just puff pieces, but lately they've been taking a decidedly negative tone. See if you can guess what Anna Corrin thinks about the Sophia Loren Mr. 10 questions.
She turned up for a media conference to confront the barbs of those who think they're funny.
Ooh, segue that handsome.
Hang on, I'm not the only person on TV who mistakenly thinks they're funny.
If you've been down to your local supermarket lately, you'll know you have to be a super sleuth to find products made in Australia. I say, Watson, I think we have it. It says it's made in China. My conclusion, very un-Australian.
Hang on, they've stolen my shtick. It's my business.
Andrew, do you really want to claim that?
Yeah, no, not really.
I didn't think so. No. And Martin King kept us all in stitches with his classic japery about the price of food at the footy.
How humble could a hot dog be at these prices? They've got us cold at $4. I mean, do they think we're barking mad? King is on fire! He's kicked the sausage roll! $3.80. Is it time the pie got the punt? Oh!
Martin King there, demonstrating why he should retire. But back to hit pieces about us. Now, when these shows want to get a TV critic to say we're dangerous, they go straight to the top of the industry.
That's right. They go straight to a random man who occasionally watches us on television.
Vietnam veteran Eric Pope, watching at home, was deeply worried.
Oh, he's deeply worried. Just look at the worry wart. Oh, yes, I'm surprised if he sleeps at all for the rest of this year.
But the important thing is he's a Vietnam vet, Andrew.
Oh, yes.
Now, and that's all you need to be a TV critic these days. Just be a Vietnam vet. In fact, we found one for ourselves.
As a Vietnam vet, what do you think of the current affair?
Current affair, I think it's pretty crap.
And that Vietnam vet report was the fourth ACA chaser story this year, catapulting them to the top of the tally board ahead of Today Tonight's Poultry 2.
That's right, and Today Tonight were clearly aware of their poor performance there because last week they contacted us offering to follow us around on a stunt.
Yes, reporter James Thomas offered to run a flattering puff piece on us, and we said, sure, James, come on over with your cameras, it'll be great.
Unfortunately for James, when he got to the ABC, we did the very thing Today Tonight always does to their subjects. We double-crossed him.
So, can you tell me who you're doing now?
Basically, what we're thinking we're going to do is we're going to go after your boss, Peter Meekin.
Oh.
Yeah, because he's been getting a bit of strife recently, and so we thought to ourselves, we'll help him out a bit. And I believe the car's here right now. So as you know, he's been having his problems, and we thought to ourselves, the guy can't drive himself home anymore. He can't help himself. He gets on the piss every now and then. So we thought we'd keep him out of strife and help him get home.
How are you, mate? Come on into the...
Have a look.
Oh, yep. Fantastic. This ought to last your boss at least 10 minutes.
It's all very comfortable, as you can see. A bit like a paddy wagon, so he'll feel at home. Anyway, let's go pick him up, hey, Jay?
Right.
Shall we?
See you at Channel 7.
We'll go to Channel 7, James. Thanks for joining us.
Here we are. Oh, where's Peter Meekin? Okay, James. This is how a stakeout works.
How do you choose who your targets are?
Oh, well, if journalist rings up offering to do a piece on us, usually we'll target their boss.
Especially if he's a trick driver.
So if we see...
Peter Meekin come in any time, by the way, James?
Yeah, where's Peter? Oh, have you good? Okay.
He's actually very, you know, I did...
Come on.
Shut up, James.
Come on, James. Come on, James.
Tell us how drunk Peter Meekin was.
Seriously, you've seen him really drunk.
What's he like when he's drunk, Peter Meekin?
Is he drunk every day at work? Was he drunk when he came up with the Wah Wah concert?
Was he drunk when he hired Naomi Robson to host a show?
And when he gave her a contract extension? He must have been
pissed as.
Your songs, they are very good. Where do you get your inspiration from?
Well, I'm doing a song about Peter Meekin being a pisshead this week.
Right.
Yep.
How's it go?
Peter Meekin, what a pisshead. Peter Meekin, what a booze. And it's a bit like that.
Do you reckon it has potential, James?
I think you should work on it a bit, but I'm sure you will.
Oh, it'll probably get wittier.
Biggest regrets?
Biggest regrets?
Oh, that Peter Meekin didn't show up for the booze
That's
bus.
a huge regret. That is a massive regret.
Oh, really sad.
Well, listen, I'm not sure whether to say thank you for your time, but I appreciate the insight.
No, you sure you don't want to hang around? It'll be good. You wait to see when Peter comes. It'll be great. That's when we're really hot up.
He'll be thrilled to see you sitting in his booze bus.
Yeah, I'm sure he will be. He'll be very thrilled. Thank you very much.
Thanks today tonight.
You're not going to drive back, are you?
Of course not. No,
we're waiting for Peter.
We're not Peter Meekin.
Yeah.
We wouldn't do that.
Welcome back to What Have We Learned from Current Affairs. We've been away for a few months now, and so today we are covering what we learned during the break.
Yes, and during the break we learnt that we made a terrible, terrible mistake. A few months back we did a segment about the secret DVD where we jokingly said that this man here was a pedophile. Now, it turned out that the actor playing that man was very offended and he took his story straight to Today Tonight.
I'd like to say to the Chasers boys, you're not funny. I'd like a public apology to begin with.
Well, Mr. Actor, we'd like to give you that apology without any further ado. As this vision from Today Tonight shows, you are clearly not a pedophile. You're obviously into bestiality instead. Look at you pulling moves on that cow.
He's relentless.
Honestly. Shame on you.
But wait, he even told us the conditions under which he'd have sex with that cow.
I ain't taking it lying down.
Wow. Apology dealt with.
Yes, well, we have been away, and of course no break would be complete without a tortuous segue from the one and only Anna Corrin. In this segue, Anna tries to smoothly change the subject from a report about Macquarie Bank to a report about Harry Potter. And so tenuous is her link that scientists from the Smithsonian Institute were forced to develop their very own machine to measure it. The tenuousometer.
Macquarie Bank casting as big a spell on governments as any master of the dark arts, which makes you wonder why Harry Potter wouldn't want to be a banker if he grows up.
That's a tenuous reading of 8 billion.
Well done. Also during the break, the country was visited by the US aircraft carrier Kitty Hawk. Now, this is a great opportunity for a journo. Australia is at war and you got access to America's prime piece of military machinery. So, it's a good thing that Today Tonight got this crew member to divulge such strategic information of geopolitical import.
Last night we played bingo, for example.
Bingo?
Yeah. That was pretty fun.
Well, that was Today Tonight's coverage. Meanwhile, ACA had their own probing angle.
Now, be honest with me. How many questions do you get about Top Gun, the movie?
We get quite a few.
Yes, and most of them were asked by Today Tonight.
Do you know if Top Gun was filmed on this vessel?
I don't think so.
I've heard it was. No, was it?
I don't believe so, sir. No,
Did you, like, join up after seeing Top Gun?
A little bit afterwards.
Just slightly. Do you have Top Gun on video here now?
Not right now.
Well, that's global security. Now, the parents among you will remember that the toy company Mattel recently recalled millions of toys when they found this toxic lead in the paint. Now, how could the company board be so incompetent?
Well, hang on. We watched ACA and it all became clear. Just look who Mattel's chief advisor is.
Now to the preschooler headed for the corporate boardroom.
If Sage gives a toy her tick of approval, you'll see the results on shop shelves next year. When this 5-year-old talks, toy makers listen.
Explains a lot.
Oh, yeah, but now if you put aside the whole toxic paint thing, must be pretty cool for a kid to play with so many Mattel toys. I went and asked her about it.
So what's it like to be Mattel's toy tester? Hello?
Now, you know what really annoys me, Buzz?
Now, what annoys you?
People who say current affairs shows don't cover hard news. That is rubbish.
Yeah, that's nonsense. Look, when interest rates went up during the break, Today Tonight was at the forefront of the coverage. They went right to the top and spoke directly to the governor of the Reserve Bank, driveway repairer.
You're actually working for the fella who determines your mortgages.
Oh, right. I mean...
Is he a nice bloke?
Nice one. Very nice wife.
Jeez, did you get that? Hold the front page! By contrast, ACA covered the rate rise by examining the broader political context.
All Australians want to know which one of these streets will lead to a dead end.
And all Australians want to know which one of these streets best describes that report. But of course, hey, all right. Of course, the biggest scoop during the break was the release of the final Harry Potter book. And Channel 9 got themselves a real exclusive. They got an interview with J.K. Rowling herself. Tough one for Channel 7. How could they match that? Well, somehow they did.
J.K. Rowling reveals all about her troubled past and her billion-dollar empire.
Once and for all.
On 7's Today Tonight.
Got that? J.K. Rowling reveals all in these startling clips Today Tonight seemed to take off the internet that were originally made by some other program in some other country 4 years ago.
Well, if such fresh interviews are in demand at 7, we thought we'd deliver them something hot off the presses. We need to give you these tapes.
We've got a scoop. We've got a scoop for Brian Seymour. We've got Winston Churchill telling all. It's hot off the press. Look. Who's Winston? It's amazing. Look at it.
Winston Churchill. It's
Winston
from 1944. Yeah. Winston Churchill says we could win World War II.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you want to just step in here,
Yeah,
guys?
thank you very much.
Thanks.
I'm not answering, guys.
Channel 9 will be raining this tonight, I'm telling you.
Not today.
Well, if you're going to be like that, you're going to miss out on our scoop on Napoleon.
Yep.
Past, current affairs shows have frightened us with a parade of menaces to society, such as drink drivers and food poisoning. But this year, the threat to our very lives has increased 100-fold. Prepare to face the Supermenace.
Never heard of a Supermenace? You have now.
Christine's online pal was a pre-operative transsexual deaf lesbian schizophrenic with a violent past.
And now, without further ado, we're going to count down the top 3 super menaces on current affairs shows today.
And be warned, some viewers may find the following footage highly unconvincing.
At number 3, drugs. Now, drugs are a serious issue. You'd expect Today Tonight to conduct some rigorous, well-founded research about it. And you'd be wrong.
3 out of every 4 kids, some as young as 14, are some way involved in the selling of illegal drugs.
It's true, 75% of our children are drug dealers. And you know why?
Illegal drugs are as easy to get as a bag of lollies.
That is absolutely true. The lolly bags at kids' parties have the most extraordinary things in them nowadays.
Oh, my niece's 7th birthday was like watching Train Spotting.
And now, super menace number 2, the weather.
All right, now, when it comes to global warming, ACA is very level-headed, you know. They don't want to alarm us about rising sea levels in Australia.
Sorry, did you say Australia? You mean the dead zone?
Oh, pardon me, of course.
Look, global warming is not a very sexy topic. 0.3 of a degree here, bit of ice melting there. But Ben Fordham found a way to make the weather seem a little more threatening.
Flash floods. Gas and methane fireballs racing across the globe with the power of atomic bombs. Life on Earth ends in apocalyptic storms.
A little dramatic.
If you think Ben's over the top, you should watch Sky News.
Let's take a look at Sky Weather now and the forecast for tomorrow. And flash floods ahead for Perth, methane fireballs arcing across Brisbane, atomic bombs in Sydney and Melbourne, and an afternoon apocalypse in Hobart.
Thanks for your company here on Sky News. Do stay with us. We'll have more for you in a moment.
Thanks, Sky.
And now, our final super menace, the most frightening of them all. Asians!
Yes, when the A word is dropped, Dinky Die reporter Brian Seymour nearly has a stroke.
And no wonder. Behold the disturbing results of Brian's very own Australian test. Now, everyone agrees there are only 3 things you need to know to be a true Australian.
Australian values. That's what this story is about.
Have you heard of Don Bradman?
Don Bradman.
Do you know Waltzing Matilda?
Matilda.
Have you ever tried pavlova?
Pavlova? No. That's a type of food.
You don't know what a pavlova is? Take your substantial contribution to the country and piss off!
Well, look, frankly, I don't know about Seymour's test results. When we went to Chinatown, we found Asians know quite a lot about Australia.
Do you know who Brian Seymour is? He's a fuckwit.
A shoddy journalist.
He has openness for his head.
Brian Seymour is the nadir of tabloid journalism.
The communist news in China is more balanced than him.
Brian Seymour, get out of my country.
Oh, Brian Seymour? Isn't he that dickhead asswipe motherfucking slut from Today Tonight, hosted by that bitch? Like, can I give a message to Brian Seymour?
Yeah?
Brian Seymour? Fuck you.
Now, given how many of Anna Curran's segues we've presented so far, you'd be forgiven for thinking that all Anna does is clunky segues.
But oh, no. There is much more to Anna Curran than that. She also does meaningless gibberish. That's right, we now present the most confusing introduction to a report ever written.
Lawyers don't laugh, at least not in public, when they're pursuing a little guy and the bill is being paid by a big corporation. There's much more of that right across Australia these days. Rowan Wen with the answer to what's in a name.
And that report was, of course, about starfish.
And we actually found out who scripted that surreal bit of nonsense. It turns out it was originally a Beatles outtake, done when the group was savagely off their tits.
Lawyers don't laugh, at least not in public, when they're pursuing a little guy and the bill's being paid by a big corporation. There's a lot more of that right across Australia these days. Rowan went with the answer to what's in a name. Rowan went with the answer to what's in a name. Rowan went with the answer to what's in a name.
What do you think of that, Yoko?
私よりアナコラの方がウィアだと思うわ。
On to today's lesson now, when the cupboard's bare.
Now, reporters are always on the lookout for an A-grade news story, but when you can't find them, you settle for a B-grade news story. And if you can't find them, then you get yourself a C-grade story. And if you can't find them...
The chase,
okay,
if you
just
could.
scroll down. If you can't even get to a Y-grade story, then you get yourself a job on a current affair.
Just wondering if I could ask you a couple of questions about the amount of time you spent having a shower.
They've barred us from bringing the dogs into the bingo.
The man banned from a club buffet for showing too much of his belly. And they were so offended they banned you.
Yes, either stay away or cover up.
Well, fair enough. You know, the belly story's a bit lame, but the story about the dogs banned from the bingo, that was huge news.
That's true. There were massive protests in the street, weren't they?
What if you can't find a story at all? Easy. You dig up a zany conspiracy theorist.
How did you feel when you saw it and you thought,
well,
that's an endocast of an alien head?
Well, at first I thought, I wonder what it is. And there's something doing me, gee, it looks like an alien, so-called.
True. An alien with a rock for a head.
Of course, crackpots come in all shapes and sizes, Andrew. They're not even all human. I mean, reporter Brady Halls was so desperate, he found himself a television-watching Shetland pony.
Keep an eye out for the end of this clip, and you'll see just how disgusted Brady is at the quality of his own report.
Oh, Oprah's on.
In time for Didge's favourite show.
Another one? All right.
Oh, dear.
That's right, Brady.
Oh, dear. I mean, look, the problem with running Brady Halls-level stories is that, you know, your viewers don't actually give us stuff about the content. But that's why you have to jazz up a harmless topic with just a little bit, not too much, just a little bit of danger.
Tonight, we expose the seedy underbelly of black market jobs in the dangerous, cutthroat world of trolley collection.
It's true, you know. There is a seedy underbelly. This morning, my trolley got collected by Al Capone.
Al Capone?
That's right, Al Capone. God, it hurts.
You should have known. It's a black market, that trolley collection industry, you know?
Apparently it's a cutthroat world.
Cutthroat world.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Well, we've learned the techniques for creating something out of nothing. And now let's watch Today Tonight put them in action. They filled up 3 entire reports about this woman.
She's 21, mother of 1, wants 10 more.
Did you get that? They have found a single mother who wants to have 11 children.
Sorry, she has 11 children?
No. She wants to have 11 children.
She wants to have...
She wants to have 11
what we have here is a genuine non-story.
That's right.
And just how far did Today Tonight manage to hype this one up?
Consultant ethicist Nick Tonti-Filippini.
This contravenes the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child.
That's right, no lesser authority than the United Nations could deal with this woman's hypothetical wish to have babies.
It's a human rights disaster, Andrew, so we went straight to Amnesty International to see what the hell they were doing about it. We have an important human rights abuse to discuss.
You're wasting time on Burma. What are you doing about the woman who wants 11 babies?
How can you sleep at night while this woman so callously wants babies?
And furthermore, this woman wants to have 1 million babies.
That's true.
Listen to her.
We can only concentrate on what we see as the fundamental human rights.
Forget about human rights. What about dog rights? What are you going to do about letting these innocent dogs play bingo? Why don't you start a letter-writing campaign about that?
Now, a couple of weeks ago, we presented you with what we claimed was the most confusing introduction to a current affairs report ever written. We were wrong. So wrong.
Policing is a tough job, but in between murder and robbery, there's time for other things, like a blitz on jaywalkers. Not that there's much to fear from people who haven't crossed the street properly, just an opportunity to make your voice heard, enforce the law, before you go around the corner and do it yourself, as Rodney Lose discovered.
Confused? I certainly, Elephant.
Now, to be fair, while that intro was very confusing, I do think that Anne has an excuse. We've obtained some vision from a secret camera behind Anna, and just look at this. The conditions in that studio are very hard to work under.
No wonder she's confused.
Explains a lot. I tell you who they should have hired to write that intro, but...
Oh, who?
Damien Murphy.
Oh, Murphy! Now, Murphy knows that if you've got a confusing topic, you can explain it visually. And that makes it even more confusing.
Now, under a normal loan, you take some of your income from over here and put it onto your loan account over here, keeping the rest for everyday expenses. Now, under line of credit, you put all of your income into your loan and then take back what you need to get you by each week. Just think about it. Throwing a few extra dollars onto your loan for a few extra days each month, only to take most of it back out again, means you're probably saving yourself a bit of interest, maybe $30 a month, but in the scheme of a $250,000 30-year borrowing, you've hardly made a dent at all.
Well, hang on, I'm very confused now.
It's OK, Andrew. Let me explain. Now, this pile represents the size of a normal person's brain, and this pile is Damien Murphy's brain. And every time you watch one of Damien Murphy's reports, you lose a significant portion of your brain. You see? There you go. Very clear.
On to today's lesson now, the right attitude.
Yes, now to be a great current affairs reporter, you've got to show a bit of attitude. Reporter Brady Halls, for example, has no attitude.
Now, poor little Brady. He was told he had to do a story about a town where they found asbestos. Now, just compare the level of bravery between Brady Halls and the woman he's interviewing.
This is very high grade iron ore up there. It's safer here than what it is most urban areas.
My way of thinking.
All right, we've shown you a reporter who has no attitude. Now it's time to show you one who does.
Amanda Patterson. Now, she is one angry woman. The people she interviews make her so angry, they don't even deserve the right to answer her questions.
Yes, now check out how many times she cuts off the people from St Vincent's Hospital in this one report.
I'm not interested in doing secret meetings, Miss Gray.
Well,
it's a public forum, it's a public hospital.
Heather Gray is CEO of the Greater Southern Area Health Service.
What is going wrong inside that hospital? Why are these babies dying? Is there something that you don't want them to hear?
No, but I think the
cover-ups have affected every single one of these people.
We...
Don't they have the right to listen to what you have to say? Would your behaviour be different if the cameras weren't rolling?
Dr McGurr and his PR man didn't want to know.
The doctor on duty said to their mother that she should just let them perish and die.
Thank you. That doctor, these mums and dads had questions and they wanted answers.
Well, they won't be getting answers if Amanda Patterson's the reporter.
No, but not all reports are about confrontation. Some reports, for instance, are about sick kids and they require a sensitive, sympathetic attitude.
Yeah, that's right. This boy has an awful illness, which makes him black out and he falls over literally every few minutes. It's a terrible disorder, which is why it was so heartwarming to see Today Tonight choose such poignant music to accompany the boy's story. Who's going to pick you up when you fall indeed?
Although, to be fair, that reporter did run music over himself as well. Evens out. Look, then there are the more light-hearted stories where the reporter needs a bit of charm. For example, Today Tonight set up their cameras with some deal or no-deal home viewers who are about to win 200 grand. Enter Jonathan Creek.
And just look at the natural chemistry between Jonathan and the winning couple.
Feast your eyes on...
Mate.
I'd only got $200,000. How does that change your lives?
Ah, Jonathan Creek, you show pony, you!
Right. Now, finally, there are political reports. Now, politicians are wily snakes, and you've got to confront them head-on with the most hard-nosed attitude you can muster.
Yeah, and it pays off, because the relentless Ben Fordham didn't let up until he got the biggest scoop in Australian political history.
A rare insight into the private life of the Prime Minister.
I always like to be on my own at breakfast. Sort of a deal my wife and I made when we got married. She said, you get your own breakfast.
You like to be on your own at breakfast?
Oh, yeah.
Why's that?
Oh, I say you can read the papers and think about the day. I don't really like... and I'm very much a loner at breakfast. And Jeanette said, you get your own breakfast. And
you get your own breakfast?
Oh, yeah, of course, always have. Why wouldn't I? I mean, you don't get somebody else to get your breakfast. Ridiculous.
That is amazing stuff. The Prime Minister gets his own breakfast.
He gets his own breakfast?
Yes, he gets his own breakfast.
He gets his own breakfast?
Guys, did you hear that? The Prime Minister gets his own breakfast.
He gets his own breakfast?
Right, so you didn't know the Prime Minister gets his own breakfast?
He gets his own breakfast?
Yeah, apparently.
Well, it's the talk of the town.
It's amazing.
They even got stuck into him during the debate about it.
Yeah.
Laurie, your next question.
Mr. Howard, my question to you is on the topic of breakfast. How would you describe your journey towards getting breakfast on your own?
It's a wonderful story. It's a story of great achievement. It's a story of heroic endeavour. You can sneer at it, Mr. Rudd. You can say that people won't believe it. Well, frankly, I don't care if you do say that. I think people will believe it.
And a follow-up, Mr. Howard. How do you fall on the crucial issue of whether to have lumps of sugar in your cereal?
I'll take my lumps.
Well, look, no. Now, it was a huge scoop from Fordham, I admit, but I don't like the way he went about getting it. That was a savage, underhanded ambush of Howard.
That was a disgrace. It was a disgrace, and there is only one way to deal with someone who behaves like that. To confront them in the cut-them-off style of Amanda Patterson. Mr. Fordham! Mr. Fordham! How can you speak to an innocent Prime Minister about breakfast like that?
Where's it going to end, Mr. Fordham? Lunch? Dinner?
Spare a thought for the breakfast, Mr. Fordham.
How many innocent Prime Ministers have to suffer because of you? When we approached Ben Fordham, we were met with a guilty silence.
Why aren't you answering our questions?
Tell me, what have you got to hide?
Is this a cover-up, Mr. Fordham?
Don't speak over us while we're interrupting you. Huh? Oh, hi, Brady.
I have a funny feeling coming on. Did you feel that?
Yes, I do.
It's a segue.
Prepare your brains as Anna tries to link a story about Melbourne Cup Day with a story about a boy band.
And the only thing that makes less sense than her script is her hat.
It is, of course, the day when human nature is at its best and sometimes its worst. Unlike the group Human Nature, which always seems to be at its best.
Ah, how's shithouse?
Well, tonight it's the last current affairs segment of the season.
But don't despair, because we're going to pack all our leftover lessons into this last-minute cram session. And the first lesson is hiding bad acting.
The only thing current affairs shows like more than crap reenactments is filling them with crap actors. But that's okay, because these shows have worked out the secret of hiding bad acting.
You simply shake the bejesus out of the camera.
By the time Alex says Mr. Kim's son got involved, the vicious attack, payback, the Dez's accusations, they'd stolen his shovel. But what Dez and his family can't understand is why.
You know how they discovered this technique, don't you? It's one day they accidentally hired Peter Garrett as their cameraman.
It was a short and jocular conversation.
All right, our next lesson, product placement.
Now, a less clever show would struggle to find a way to promote themselves during a report about fruit prices. But TT slipped in some subliminal product placement. See if you can pick where it is.
Until any action is taken or laws are tightened, all we can do is keep a close eye on the bully boy tactics.
No, stop. I'm sorry, we can't show you the next bit of the show.
Yes, you may have heard we wandered into Today Tonight's offices here to confront Anna Corrin with a lethal comedy sketch.
Highly dangerous entertainment. So you can understand why they went all the way to the Supreme Court to stop it going to air.
Yes, apparently Today Tonight don't like people barging into places with cameras.
But don't worry, because we've done exactly what Today Tonight would do in this situation, and we've cobbled together a hasty and highly dubious reenactment.
It's the Today Tonight officers. I can smell the dodginess. It's the ethics room. Looks like it's been abandoned for years. It's the person who writes the segues. It's the producer. Look! It's Anna Corrin!
You are not allowed to use this footage.
Okay! We'll just do a lame reenactment instead!
That's better.
Oh!